Live from sunny Kalamazoo, Michigan, on a Saturday afternoon in March, the event we have waited a year for is here. The 2021 MAC Gymnastics Championships, live from University Arena. Welcome inside University Arena, alongside David Korzanowski and the rest of our great Bronco Productions crew. Evan Stockton with you. Welcome to the biggest day of the year for MAC Gymnastics. And David, talking to everyone in this conference the last couple of days, you can sense palpably throughout the conference they are so excited for this event this year.
You said it, Evan. All 7 coaches itching for this competition to start, and they think there's about 5 teams that could walk away with this championship. It's quite a tight conference.
Yeah, it really is an outstanding MAC Gymnastics conference this year. 5 teams in the conference are within the top 35 in the NQS. Now remember, in case you need a reminder, here is how the rotations will work, David. There's a lot of programs here. There are 7, so at one time there will be 4 programs competing, 3 will be on bye. We'll have 7 total rotations.
Lot of moving parts, and keep an eye on that first rotation on Kent State. They're 15th in the country in floor average. And Coach Biggins said it might be a challenge starting on their best event.
It really will be interesting to watch all of the moving parts here today. It's not just out there on that floor. It is also amongst us here in the broadcast booth. I will be taking the floor and bars. David will be taking the vault and beam throughout today's meet.
Yeah, just a couple things we got to be keeping our eyes on, so you will be taking those too. And also, a lot of moving parts and a lot of people in this gym, but for those maybe a little bit concerned about COVID protocols, there is a lot of protocols being put in place by the conference. Extended cleaning periods, teams are in separate areas, and they must wear that mask whenever they're not competing, Evan.
Remember, the championships for the MAC Gymnastics were supposed to take place here in Kalamazoo last year. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19, it was pushed back to this year. We are so excited it is happening this year. It takes a whole heck of a lot of work to turn the home of Bronco Hoops into the home of MAC Gymnastics. The championships from Kalamazoo coming up. All the setup is ready. The MAC Gymnastics Championships from Kalamazoo starts very shortly, and if you follow MAC Gymnastics, you know that man very, very well. Bryce Biggin, one of the more respected coaches across the sport, and we caught up with him before today's meet.
Number one, these kids are competitive. They want to compete, but they also, for them to understand what their importance is and what their role is that day. When you have that many kids on a team, I think it says a lot for them that they've put things in the right perspective. They understand maybe they're not competing this week, but they're still important because they're making those other kids go out and work harder every week to stay ahead of them or to try and stay in that lineup. So, and with that many girls, I think our team truly is very close. I think they work really well together. I think they're happy for each other when they see someone else have success, and that's a huge part of this sport.
David, it's interesting hearing Coach talk about that because we're all following sports during these strange COVID-19 times, and we've all watched hoops games in empty gyms, and everybody on the sidelines has got to pump up the guys on the court. Well, it's very important amongst a large gymnastics squad to give the support not only to those competing, but also in practice every single day. It truly is a team environment. That's how you get better.
And especially gymnastics, Evan, it's such a team sport. You can see everyone who's not competing is so excited for the teammates to get going and compete.
That is one heck of a scene. here from University Arena in Kalamazoo. We could not have this event last year because of COVID-19. Penny Jernigan and her entire Western Michigan gymnastics program is so darn happy that this event can happen here this year. And David, again, let's take a look at how this event will be structured today. Of course, all 7 programs in the MAC are competing. The 4 events, so 4 will be taking place at one time, and then there will be 3 byes apiece. This leads us right into the Central Michigan Chippewas, David, who are starting on the vault. This Chippewa program led by Coach McDonald. Man, they have been fantastic all year. They are top 25 in the country, according to NQS.
Yeah, and their last 2 meets, Evan, they posted a 196.425. Anytime you break 196 as a team score, that is a point of note. And Christine McDonald has really led this team to be peaking at the right time. On the beam, it's Eastern Michigan, led by Coach Katie Minnesota. As you take a look at the lineup, Michaela Stuckey will start it off, and that's one of the strongest events for that Eagles squad. And they had an outstanding showing here at the same arena in the dual match between Western and Eastern Michigan on the beam. It's one of their best events.
We talk about the NQS. Eastern Michigan is 29th in the country. Kent State has had fantastic success throughout their history in college gymnastics. Olivia Amade will kick it off at the top of their floor rotation. She's a sophomore, and you can tell, David, amongst the rotation they've got today, yes, there are some experienced pieces, but also some freshmen and sophomore. And begging off of what Coach Biggin said earlier, that's what he's really excited about his program. There's there's growth here.
And for a lot of lineups, not many gymnasts have competed in a MAC championship because they didn't have the 2020 MAC championships, and then the freshmen and sophomores are coming in. This is their first time in a conference championship setting.
And finally, on the bars, the Ball State Cardinals, kicked off by Marissa Nychik. I'm really excited to watch her compete, David. She's a fantastic gymnast.
No question. One of the all-arounds for that Cardinals squad. Keep an eye on Arden Hudson as well, the senior. She really specializes on the uneven bars, and Victoria Henry has been a freshman phenom, not just at Ball State, but in the MAC in general.
A monumental day for all of the programs here, and it could turn out to be a monumental day for the Mid-American Conference. Gymnastics in this conference has taken a monumental leap, David. We were talking to coaches getting ready for this event throughout the week, and they all pointed to, we really have no idea who's going to win this thing because of how darn good the conference is this year. It's so much fun to be a part of it.
It's really deep, and a lot of teams have broken 196 this year. As you get a look at the touch warm-up for Central Michigan, they've broken 196. Eastern, Western, Kent State have all topped the 196 mark. And Evan, now it's just about performing your best in the biggest stage.
They were talking about the talent level in the conference, and of course you look to bigger conferences and collegiate gymnastics, and the talent they get there is quite absurd, for lack of a better way to say it, David. But man, the talent throughout this conference, as you will see today, just gets better and better every single year.
And really talking to Coach Biggin was when that was most evident. He said he's seen such growth in this conference through his 40-plus years at Kent State. He says that the mid-majors, if you will, are starting to get better and better athletes and more gymnasts who are level 10 and can really compete at the highest level.
Eastern Michigan, one of the more talented teams throughout this conference. Caitlin Sattler, David, is one of the more talented gymnasts in this conference. It will be fun to watch her compete today.
Caitlin Sattler, she's going to be the anchor on the balance beam for the Eastern Michigan Eagles. She's from St. Paul, Minnesota, as you get a look at some of her highlights from this season. She's competed in 6 meets, all on the floor and on the beam. So a lot of athletes on Eastern that specialize in 1 or 2 events. And it's going to be important for her to really end that first rotation for the Eagles well.
All conference teams were named yesterday, and Caitlin is all MAC second team. A belated congratulations to her. Eastern Michigan, again, top 30 in the country on NQS. And as we watch the Eagles warm up on the beam, David, any gymnast, any gymnastics fan out there watching, I know I'm not breaking any news to you here, but the beam is just so vital if you want to win the all-around in a meet. Well, beam can kind of be your fortune, but it could also be your doom because of how tricky it is.
One question I tried to ask every coach was, is there an event you're focusing on going into the MAC championships? All 4 are obviously important, but is there 1 or 2 that maybe catch your eye? And a common response was the balance beam. There's just so little room for error with the beam being just 4 inches wide. These gymnasts really have to make sure they put their best performance on display today.
I wonder too, David, We've waited a year for this event. Of course, teams have been competing throughout the season, but this is the pinnacle of the MAC gymnastics season. You talk about the beam and the nerves that come along with that. What do you think are the nerves for these programs? What do you think we should watch for early in terms of, are there going to be jitters out there?
Yeah, especially in the first couple rotations, I think that's really important to watch. Are there maybe hesitations, balance checks, leaning one way or the other? But these coaches have really prepared their teams well. They said they coached very well in practice, made sure they kept it loose and fun. But at a certain point, once it got to Thursday and Friday, these teams were ready to get out and compete. It was at a point where, all right, you've studied for the test. Now you want to get in there and put your best performance on display.
You talk about studying for tests, dude. You're just bringing back like the worst memories of all time.
My
Come on
fault,
now.
my fault.
I thought I had officially graduated to the world of broadcasting. I was done worrying about pre-calc, David.
Not quite yet. Not quite yet. After today, we'll see who aces the test here at the MAC Gymnastics Championship.
And Lord knows there are a lot of numbers and a lot of scores that go into an event like this. So, yeah, we'll be dealing with just a little bit of math throughout this afternoon's event.
I got my calculator out. Don't worry.
Wow.
I'm ready to go.
The man came prepared. That's why they pay us the hypothetical big bucks.
I wonder what's going through the minds of these gymnasts right now, though. The touch warm-ups wrapping up. MAC Gymnastics about to get underway. And really, once this starts in just a few moments, it's going to be non-stop until all 7 rotations are completed.
Whether you're just joining us now, whether you'll be joining us in just a little bit, we're going to be here all afternoon long as we go through the 7 rotations and crown champions, not just, of course, for the overall team score, but every single event will have a champion. The all-around will have a champion. Truly the pinnacle of MAC Gymnastics taking place today on the west side of Michigan. Again, a refresher for you. These are what the rotations are going to look like. Everyone will be competing in one of the 4 events. 3 of the programs, 3 of the teams will have a bye. We'll go through the 7 rotations, and we'll wrap it all up by the end. As we start on the vault, Dave, and we look for Central Michigan, what do you think's going through their minds, right? This is a program in Central Michigan that has had a very successful season. There's got to be a little bit of pressure, right?
No question about it, but I thought that was a fantastic start on the vault from Kennedy Johnson. Senior all-arounder from Cordova, Tennessee, averaging a 9.775 on the vault this year. As we shift over to beam, this is Michaela Stuckey. She is leading off that beam squad for the Eagles from Indiana Connections Academy, has competed in all 10 meets this year, all on the beam. Starts it off well and stays planted. Her average on this event is a 9.58. Here is Michaela Stuckey. Biggest part of the balance beam is the dismount. Coming just momentarily, checks herself and stays on the beam. That's the most important part. Michaela Stuckey doing well so far. The dismount. Solid landing from Michaela Stuckey. You see head coach Katie Minnesota pumped up for her leadoff. As we shift over to floor.
So Kent State starts on the floor in this first rotation. Here's the sophomore from Chippewa Valley High School in Metro Detroit, Olivia Amadei, competing. You can see her average on the season, the highest a 9.85. We will see a lot of Olivia today. She also competes in the vault and the beam for the Flashes. Here comes the pass. Olivia finishes, and the rest of her squad loves that. To the bars we go, and the Ball State Cardinals making the trip from Muncie, Indiana, of course, today. Hannah Ruthberg competing on the bars for the Cardinals. Freshman from North Carolina. Couldn't quite stick the landing as she so wanted to, but still a good start for Ball State on the uneven bars.
Back to the vault we go. Here come the Chippewas. Sydney Williams gets going. 9.79 average, and you can see the vault, such a quick event, just one sprint down, a handspring or a foot spring, and going off of that beast of a piece of equipment as Williams gets a bunch of high fives. You can see putting the mask on right after that event goes. As the Chippewas start off on vault. Back to balance beam. Waiting for the go cue from those judges. Michaela Stuckey just notching up a 9.45. So this is Brianna Price. Brianna Price, beam high this year, 9.825. And her average just over a 9.7. Saw a couple balance checks from Stuckey, so Price trying to pick up where Stuckey left off. The senior from Kings Mountain, North Carolina. Extends that right foot. Fantastic back and forth from Price. Spins around. The anticipation mounting from her teammates and coach right on the end. Getting ready for the dismount. These events do move at different paces. This is just the second beam gymnast. Vault has already gotten 4 in. We'll get you those scores as we get going. Price. The dismount. Fantastic. Brianna Price wraps it up well at that 2 spot for the Eastern Michigan Eagles on the beam.
To the floor we go. Kennedy Weinpert, the freshman from Mentor, Ohio, competing. Trying to eclipse her season high. Kennedy, the alum of the All-Around Gymnastics Academy. She was the Ohio State floor champion back in high school. And the finish for Kennedy. 2 down on the floor for the Flashes in rotation number 1. Onto the bars, back to the Ball State Cardinals. Marissa Nychik third up in the rotation on the bars for the Cardinals. Beg your pardon, that was Arden Hudson. Routine complete, mask back on. And on we go for Ball State on the bars. Back to the floor for Kent State. Tashi Richard, third in the rotation on the floor for the Flashes. A lot of success for Kent State over the years. And a lot of success on the floor this year for Richard. The high, as you can see, 9.9. As we wait for the competition for Kent State, Central Michigan waiting to compete on the vaults. Chippewas, top 25 in the country in NQS. And you talk about success in the Mid-American Conference in gymnastics. Hannah Demers, the sophomore from Canton, Michigan, first team in the conference this year, David. She is fantastic to watch. Very excited to see what we see from her here.
And she's the anchor on vault, which is an important spot to be for the sophomore. She competes in all-around, so you'll see her in all 4 events today. From Canton High School, Hannah Demers. Awesome. You can see why they put her in that 6th spot. She was 2nd team All-MAC last year and even moved up to 1st team All-Conference this year.
All right, back to the floor we go. Tashi is now on the floor for the Golden Flashes. The senior from Cleveland Heights, Ohio, you know there are many thoughts going through her mind as she competes for one of the final times collegiately.
We'll be right here, facing this way.
Here she comes on one of the final passes on the floor. And Kent State loving that. A fine performance from the senior. And over to the beam we go.
Awesome start so far, Evan. Vault wrapping up with Central Michigan finishing their first rotation. Kent State fired up as now we get set for the beam and the Eagles. They loved it the last time they competed here on the balance beam. A season high team score of 49.35 in the dual meet in late February. Eagles getting set to go. Wait for that green light from the two judges. The two judges are positioned on opposite sides so that they get a different angle of the routine. The average of the score is what counts. Top 5 scores out of 6 go into the official scorebook. So we get a look at Shannon Gregory. Beam high was a 9.90. She got that score at the Central Michigan Quad Meet to finish out the season. Eagles finishing 2nd out of 4 at that meet just a week ago. Gregory falls off the bar slightly, so now she has to regain that composure and finish out her routine strong. Again, nerves maybe a bit more of a factor in the beam, but Gregory shows off the athleticism immediately after and gets set to go. Gregory from Edison, New Jersey. The dismount. What a difficult dismount, and she does it well. High fives from the coaches and teammates. Puts on that mask and jogs back to her team.
Back to the floor of the Flashes. Rachel DeCavich, all MAC second team this season. And when you're from a town named Champion in Ohio, you got to be good at something, right? Still time on this floor routine. A little bit sloppy on the landing there. Rachel has competed in the all-around this year for Kent State in all but 2 of their meets. She's been above a 39 in the all-around 4 times this season for the Flashes. Rachel revving up for a big final pass. Here it comes. A strong finish for Rachel DeCavich. To the bars and Ball State. Megan Teeter slated to go 4th for the Cardinals. Victoria Henry, the very last to compete, number 6 in the lineup for Ball State on the bars. Strong finish, fired up about that, and Ball State complete on the bars. They are through their 6 competitors.
You can just feel the energy in this gym right now, Evan. These teams huddled up. College gymnastics, really the first time that these athletes compete in a team setting. Before that, it's a very individual sport, but you can see how fired up these gymnasts are, whether they're competing, rooting for their teammates, or coaching. A lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm in this gym.
It's always unique in these settings, David. You know, I think of a college basketball tournament and a conference. That's all in our minds, of course, with March Madness going on. And it's a unique environment to have all these schools and all these competitors mixing in one spot. That's how it feels in Kalamazoo today. We got 7 different programs and 7 different groups of fans all here.
Yeah, the max meet that any of these teams have competed in this year is a 6-team event. So one more than that with 7, but most teams are really accustomed to 2, 3, maybe 4. And now you got the whole conference in one gym. It's quite the feeling.
There have been no fights yet, but we'll keep an eye on it for you, all right? Let's go over to the beam and Dave.
Hayden Crossan getting going. She's 4th on the event. One of the best gymnasts on this Eastern Michigan team from Carmel, Indiana. Season high all-around score of a 39.425. You can see that beam average of 9.75. She's notched up a 9.9 at the home quad meet for the Eagles earlier this year. And really needs a good score after the fall on the last routine from Shannon Gregory. Crossan. You can see the dismount. Arms back. Applause raining in. As we will quickly shift over to Kent State on the floor. Crossan with a great balance beam routine.
Here comes Jade Brown. Grad student, 4'11", from right here in Michigan. She's from Lansing, went to Waverly High. She has put up some outstanding numbers on the floor this season. She competes on the floor and the bars for the Flashes. We expect to see Jade there in a little bit. For now, she begins her routine on the floor. You may hear the music in the background. That is the training montage theme from the last Creed movie. An outstanding choice.
That was an impressive snipe there, Evan. I don't think I would have gotten that one myself.
David, you're not going to get any Rocky tidbits by me, my friend, all right? I co-sign this performance from Jade.
I can tell.
As you saw a little bit earlier, Jade's season high on the floor was a 9.925. That was against Western Michigan back in the middle of February on the 18th. Jade Brown preparing for final pass on this floor routine. And Jade finishes. To the double box we go. Sound like Scott Hansen. Let's go to the beam.
Great routine on the floor from Jade Brown. Now it's Jada Rondeau, who is 5th out of 6 on the beam. These are the last 2 events to finish up, as you can get a look at the scores from the bars and the vault. Central Michigan just below that 49 mark on the vault. Ball State with a solid 48.75. Not the start that Eastern Michigan wanted on the beam so far. 9.05 from Gregory, 9.45 from Stuckey. But Rondeau, one of the best routines we've seen so far, and she is another all-around gymnast that's going to be crucial for this Eagles squad today.
Absolutely, David, and you can see in the bottom right corner of your screen, that's the scores we've currently compiled. Of course, the vault and the bars complete for Central Michigan and Ball State. Eastern Michigan is done on the beam, and now Kent State will finish on the floor with Abby Fletcher, the 5'4" senior from Oradell, New Jersey. That's about 21 miles from Manhattan. Second team in the MAC this year. Abby went to Riverdale High in New Jersey. Her major is fashion merchandising. For now, the only focus on Abby's mind is competing well on the floor.
And for Caitlin Sattler, it is being a strong anchor on the beam. 9.867 average this year for the junior from St. Paul, Minnesota. Her high on the beam, a 9.925 at the home quad meet for Eastern Michigan earlier this year. We got to go double box here.
Oh, of course.
We can't miss Sattler on the beam.
Next year we will send in our request for the quad box.
Let's
There's
go.
no such need for an octo box here.
We might need to go one at a time. We could go triple, then quad, or we could try quad. We could double it up.
Yeah.
See what we can do.
Abby Fletcher on the left for Kent State. As we wait for Eastern Michigan and Caitlin Sattler to compete, we'll flip over to Abby. Abby's high on the floor this year, 9.925. It came against Eastern Michigan on Valentine's Day.
Caitlin Sattler has really been working to get back to this meet. She had a beam bite that sidelined her for a few meets earlier this year. This is her 7th meet. And you can see she is such a specialist on the beam. Just flawless on that pass backwards. 2nd straight year that she is All-MAC 2nd team. Sattler wants to finish strong for the Eagles. She could bump that team score up that you see in the bottom right towards a 48.7. They'd be right in the hunt with Ball State and Central Michigan after one rotation.
And on the left, as Abby completes her routine and finishes for Kent State, a solid showing.
And Sattler at the same time. You can see Kent State and Eastern finishing off their respective events. And what a great first rotation. That was a blast to watch.
Absolutely. That is the excitement of this event distilled in just a couple of seconds. We have competing teams, solid successes on both sides of the screen. One rotation down at the MAC Gymnastics Championships here in Kalamazoo. The vault, bars, beam, and floor were through one rotation.
One down and 6 to go. University Arena in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Thanks for joining us for the MAC Gymnastics Championship. I'm David Korzanowski with Evan Stockton. The first rotation really set the bar high as we take a look at Central Michigan. They started off on the vault and did a solid job on that event. A 48.95 team score. It was Katie Kowalski who had the highest score as you get a look at the leadoff. Kennedy Ray Johnson. This was Elizabeth Cesarone, both notching up a 9.775 to start. And that was crucial to really set the momentum for the Chippewas. Here was the 4th. Sierra DeMarinis, you'll be hearing her name a lot today. And this was Katie Kowalski. This took the cake so far for the best vault routine. And Hannah Demers closing it off well as you get a look at that replay. On the beam, it was the Eastern Michigan Eagles, one of their best events, and they set a team record on the beam the last time they competed here at Western Michigan. Not quite the start that they wanted with Michaela Stuckey at a 9.45, but Brianna Price, Hayden Crossan, all above 9.7, and really those last two were crucial for the Eagles. Rondeau with a 9.825, and Sattler, the anchor, who had been nursing an injury all year, notched up the best score on the team. This was a 9.85 dismount. And on the other side, the floor was quite an event to watch. And Ball State on the uneven bars.
Yeah, Ball State on the bars. Cardinals team that came in solid on the bars all season long. Marissa Knight kicked it off, a 9.75. Remember, you take the top 5 scores of the 6, lowest score drop. Megan Teeter ended up having the best score for the Cardinals, the 9.85. Victoria Henry wrapped it up with a 9.725 as the anchor for the Cardinals. On the floor, Kent State was the first to compete among the 7 rotations today. The Flashes with their 6 competitors on the floor exercise. Highest amongst them was, as you'd expect, the anchor, Abby Fletcher, with a 9.925, equaling her largest score of the season. A sterling sequence of scores for the Golden Flashes. When you got a couple of 9.9 pluses, David, amongst your 6, that is pretty darn good on the floor for the Flashes, huh?
No question, and a 49.225 team score on the floor. That's best on any team in any event in the first rotation. As here we get a look at Coach Sam Moriel for Northern Illinois. We got a chance to catch up with him before the MAC championships. You can see that enthusiasm from the head coach for the Huskies.
All year long, our motto has been only chasing us. And I feel like it's, the team picked that motto, and I feel like it's us in a nutshell. We're trying not to worry about the other 6 teams because they're all quality teams, and like they're gonna bring their best. But truly, the only way we're gonna come out victorious is if we bring our best. It's not rocket science in our sport. We're waiting for that hit on all cylinders meet. We've been toying with it. We've been hovering around it, but we haven't done it yet. I've got quality kids on every single event and all around who can come out victorious as MAC champions. But from a team standpoint, we're going to need all 6 scores to count. So it's going to be truly the team that goes 24 for 24, I think, on Saturday is the team that's going to win.
Coach Sam Moriel and the Huskies, the most recent MAC conference champions, as there was no tournament in 2020. The Huskies nabbed the crown in 2019. He was named the conference coach of the year as well.
Yeah, Dave, we see the floor routine, the floor lineup that the Huskies will have. I'm glad you brought up that point about NIU being technically the reigning conference champions back in 2019. They hosted the MAC championships at their home venue back in 2019. Of course, Western Michigan is hoping that brings good omens for the Broncos once they start competing today. As we go over to the bars and the Bowling Green Falcons, you see there 6. Bowling Green, amongst the teams and the programs in the MAC, by the numbers, they have been the team and the program that has struggled the most this year. But, David, it was very apparent talking to their coaching staff throughout the week that they like where the program is going, and they come into this event with really nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose at all. They said it's freeing because they can go out and not even think about where they're at in the conference. This is Western Michigan's first event of the day. They were in that bye during rotation 1. This has been their vault lineup just about all year, and keep an eye on Sarah Moravanski and Peyton Murphy. They are the 2 all-arounders for Western Michigan. This is Ronnie Binstock to start it off. Binstock. A great start for the Broncos. Head coach Penny Jernigan said that the bye week at the end of the season might have hurt them on that quad meet out at Central Michigan, but Ronnie Binstock shaking off the rust and starts off the conference championship well on the vault.
I love what Coach Jernigan said about Ronnie Binstock. I think the exact quote was, she's just a little spitfire. She's a ball of energy, and I love her. Don't you want to compete for a coach who loves you like that, huh?
Absolutely, absolutely. And she's leadoff in a couple events, which just shows the trust that her coaching staff has in her.
Morgan Hooper, the first on the floor for the NIU Huskies. A junior from Lincoln, Nebraska. Strong beginning for the graduate of St. Pius High School. Former competitor for the Nebraska School of Gymnastics. She was a 5-time regional qualifier while competing back in her home state. Morgan revving up to complete the first in this floor rotation for the Huskies. Here she goes. Morgan Hooper completes for the Huskies. We shift to the bars for the Bowling Green Falcons. Taylor Jensen, the first scheduled to compete. Taylor Jensen, a sophomore from about 45 minutes outside Milwaukee. One down on the bars for Bowling Green. To the vault we go.
Well, Ronnie Binstock started it off with a 9.7 on the vault. As we get set for the 3rd gymnast on the event, that's going to be towards the bottom of your screen, right by that score bug. It's Sarah Moravanski. She has been such a huge addition to this team from Mount Airy, Maryland, the freshman all-arounder who has contributed so well. Moravanski on your screen, as well as Stacy Harrison. Her average on the vault is a 9.661, and she will step up and get going for the Broncos. See that stride from Harrison. What a great landing. Stacy Harrison won the uneven bars at the MAC Championship in 2018. Does well on the vault on the third spot here in 2021. To the beam, Ball State, 2 events in a row to start off their afternoon. They had a 48.75 on the uneven bars, and then they move just a little bit up on the layout of this gym to the balance beam. Another double box as floor's getting going here too, Evan. On the beam, it's Hannah Ruthberg for the Cardinals.
And on the floor for NIU, it's Kelsey Martz, junior from Ohio. Trained at New Heights Gymnastics for the past 6 seasons. She's been a level 10 during that whole time.
Ruthberg, a great start on the beam, right on the right of your screen.
And on the left of your screen, Kelsey Martz. She has been competing in gymnastics since she was 3. When you get this far in your career, you compete in events like this, it's the little bit of a culmination of a dream.
Ruthberg with a 9.825 high on the beam this year. She's done it twice. Can she beat it with that dismount? Looks solid for Coach Salim's squad. It's now 2 down on the beam for Ball State.
And now we go full screen. We get to see Kelsey Martz compete, completing her floor routine for NIU. She's second in the lineup. Here comes Kelsey. And the finish for the Huskies. That is going to make a whole group of NIU gymnasts to her left as she runs over. Very, very happy. Good for her.
This might be the MVP of Western Michigan. First team All-MAC named yesterday, and Peyton Murphy just has a heck of a story. Injured last year after capturing the all-around championship at her first meet of her collegiate season. It was at Michigan State, excuse me. She got injured in practice the first day back the next week, missed the rest of her freshman season. Her sophomore year has been stellar. Here's Peyton Murphy. The sophomore from Carroll Stream, Illinois, just outside of Chicago, gets a fist bump from coach and team. As we have 1 more left on the vault, we'll get you back there in a few minutes.
Back to the bars, Elena Lawson, the senior from Marietta, Ohio. She has competed in every single event for Bowling Green this year. She's been an all-arounder a couple of times. Excited to see Elena compete. You can see her in the front of the screen on the left, on the right, as we go back to our double box. The beam of the Ball State Cardinals, David.
It's Marissa Knightcheck, who is third to go for the Cardinals. Junior from Fort Myers, Florida, went third on the beam. She'll go third in the vault as well. Knightcheck has notched up an all-around score of 39.1 twice. That's her season high. She gets ready for the Bismount on beam. Stellar landing from Marissa Knightcheck. Slight balance check with that left foot. And we're halfway down on the beam for the Cardinals. This is the anchor on the vault. Carissa Ludwig for the Broncos. Junior from Clarkstown, Michigan. Vault average of 9.741 and a high of 9.8. Ludwig to finish it off. Oh yeah. See if she can break that 9.8 mark and help out Western Michigan as they have just finished their first event on vault.
Third in the lineup on the floor for the NIU Huskies, it's Mia Lord. the senior from Fishers, Indiana. She's had a stellar season on the floor. The grad of Hamilton Southeastern in the greater Indy area. We'll save her opinions on if Brad Stevens should have come to the Hoosiers for later.
One thing I just want to throw in, Evan, is the scores might seem a little lopsided right now. It's because these teams are moving at different paces. Western and Bowling Green just starting off on their first event. We have a little bit of a pause on bars as well. Ball State clearly in the lead, but that's because they've competed in 2 straight events.
The finish for Mia Lord. And the floor lineup continues for NIU. Okay, so back to the bars in Bowling Green. We've seen Taylor Jensen and Elena Lawson. Lily Harsh, third in the rotation for Bowling Green. Lily, a sophomore from Davidson, North Carolina. The bars has been her exclusive event this season. And a strong finish for her with a little bit of a right fist pump.
Back to the beam. This is how we keep it moving here at the Western Michigan home arena here. University Arena, Reed Fieldhouse. Bree Slonim gets on the beam. She just watched Marissa Nychik. 4th out of 6 for the Cardinals. A little bit more on Slonim. She's a graduate student, not many in the MAC. The one graduate student on the Ball State team. She'll be the anchor on vault later today as well. Season average on the beam, a 9.331, but a high of 9.725, so you know she's capable. Competed strictly on vault and on even bars last year. Moving over to the balance beam, adding that to her repertoire. Here comes Slonim. Once and twice back. She leans and makes sure that she stays on the beam, does it well. Slonim gaining her composure before the dismount. This has been an outstanding routine so far for the grad student from Verona, Wisconsin. Here it is. Bree Slonim, 4 out of 6 down for the Cardinals on the balance beam.
Strong showing for Ball State on the beam. Back to the floor we go, and Nicolette DePrisco for NIU, the junior from Aberdeen, New Jersey. Been a strong season for her on the floor. Nicolette's a grad of Red Bank Catholic out in the Garden State. Preparing for a final pass on the floor. Nicolette DePrisco. Well done. Back to the beam in Ball State, David.
Well, 5th out of 6 is one that you want to keep your eyes locked on the screen for. It's Arden Hudson. She's first on the team in average beam score with a 9.733 and has the highest beam score out of anyone on Ball State this season, a 9.925 that she notched up earlier this year at Bowling Green. Hudson, the best on the beam for the Cardinals. A specialist on this event, you might say. Senior from Doylestown, Pennsylvania, waits for the go code from the 2 judges here in Kalamazoo. Greets the judges with a smile, wipes off those feet, and gets ready to attack the balance beam. You can just see the confidence from Arden Hudson. Stellar start on the balance beam for Hudson. She's locked in now. Coach Salim watching on eagerly in her 8th season. Hudson, a level 9 state champion before coming to Muncie. Central Buckets High School East claims her as an alum. Here's Hudson, the dismount. Fantastic. Doesn't lean, doesn't move her feet, sticks the landing for the Cardinals.
Well done. Back to the bars. Kate Goldstrom, 4th in the lineup. Paige Bachner, number 5 for Ball State. Kate put up an 8.825. Paige Bachner, 5th in the lineup for Bowling Green. Just finished for the Falcons. So we shift from Bowling Green and Paige Bachner, the junior from Pittsburgh, to the floor, and the Huskies, Gabby Welch, the next to compete. Trying to eclipse her season high of a 9.8 on the floor. Let's watch the senior from Greenbrier, Tennessee. Strong start for Gabby. She competed in every single meet for NIU when they won the MAC championship a couple of years ago, back in 2019. She competed on the floor 3 times. Gabby Welch. Continuing the floor routine for NIU. You can see those scores. Bottom right corner of the screen. We will update those as the events go along. A lot of moving parts here today. We will keep you as updated as best as we humanly can. You can already see that score put up by Ball State on the beat. Gabby Welch has finished on the floor for NIU. Bowling Green completing their lineup of 6. On the bars, Alex Buckler, who has had a very sterling season on the bars. You can see that high of 9.9. The senior from outside of Pittsburgh with another solid showing.
Almost done with rotation 2 here, Evan. As we go back to the floor, it's just floor and beam that have to finish up.
So as we go back to the floor, Tara Kaufmel, the junior from Mesa, Arizona. And we talked to the coaching staff for NIU, and we asked about gymnasts that have impressed them throughout this crazy COVID season. Tara's name was the first that they mentioned. 4-year level 10 at Arizona Dynamics. She has been an all-arounder in every single meet this season for the Huskies. Tara's a grad of Red Mountain High School out in Arizona, and there are a few more stereotypical high school names out in Arizona than I could think of Red Mountain. I'm sure the family is watching back at home and enjoying this MAC Gymnastics Championship meet. We started just about an hour ago. A couple of rotations in. We will go 7 rotations today. Glad to have you all afternoon long to treat for our Bronco Productions crew to put on an event like this. Kaufmel has scored a 39 or higher 5 times as an all-arounder this season. Again, that high score on the floor for Tara Kaufmel, a 9.925, came against Eastern Michigan back on February 19th. Here goes Tara Kaufmel. NIU competing on the floor in this second rotation. Tara's been an all-arounder all year, and we will see her in the 3 other events for the Huskies today. For now, she's on the floor and completing another solid routine. Congratulations to NIU and their lineup on the floor. All 6 have been completed. Back to the beam.
The anchor on the beam is Taylor Waldo, sophomore from Stacy, Minnesota. She's competed in 9 beam events this year, an average of 9.572 and a high of 9.85. She's done it twice. Arden Hudson finished with a 9.55 on the beam. That's her best event. And the best beam gymnast, at least throughout the season, on the Ball State team. Waldo does well to keep her balance. Here's Waldo. What a great dismount and a great close to the balance beam for Ball State. Nearing the end of the second rotation, Evan, it's been fun so far.
It absolutely has been. The MAC Gymnastics Championships from Kalamazoo, 2 rotations complete. We just saw the Broncos on the vault. Western Michigan, who was the regular season champions in the Mid-American Conference last year. Of course, they could not compete in the championships for gymnastics last season because of COVID-19. Hoping for a little bit of history here today at University Arena. Western Michigan, the host of this event. Western Michigan, of course, one of the charter members of the Mid-American Conference. We are pleased to be joined here in Kalamazoo by Dr. Edward Montgomery, the president of Western Michigan University. Doctor, pleased to have you. You're talking to Evan Stockton here. My face is blocked by the computer screen, but they can see yours loud and proud on the stream. Okay, so obviously being a college administrator during COVID-19 has been a challenge. How's the last year been for you?
Well, it's been a challenge, but you know, our community has really come together. We've put in place lots of impressive testing protocols, cleaning protocols. The students have really stepped up and behaved in a really responsible way, and so we're doing good. And so we hope to have this behind us soon and be able to be back more in person in the fall.
100%. And when we do get back to more normal times, as an ambassador for Western Michigan University, tell the viewing audience out there, what makes you excited about being here in Kalamazoo and part of the university right now?
Well, you know, this is a great university part of everything from this event here today where our team is competing at the highest level to some of the things we're doing here on campus. And you're getting to see our newest residence hall, Arcadia Flats, and we're building a new student center so that our students are able to if you go in this building, look at the loft apartments. Makes me kind of jealous. Want to go back to school myself. And the new student center are all about giving students that experience that supplements what goes on in the classroom to allow them to access the newest technology, to have their clubs and social groups, places where they can interact with faculty in a more active way. And so that's what we're about, preparing students for the future, both finding their passions in life as well as their careers. And we do a pretty good job. 90-some% of them find a job short period of time, typically in their major, and they like those jobs. And that kind of all-around approach we also see with our athletes. Our gymnastics team, enormously proud of their success. They're defending champions in the MAC. but you know what? They've got an average GPA of 3.87. So these are amazing women, both on the mats, on the gymnastics court, as well as in school.
Yeah, and dovetailing off of that point, obviously, for Western Michigan University, proud members of the Mid-American Conference and hosting the Gymnastics Championships here in Kalamazoo today. How proud are you that Western Michigan is part of this conference, and just how proud are you of the conference as a whole, dealing with all the curveballs thrown our way over the past year?
You know, all of the schools have really come together to be able to, so we could have this event, to make it through this year, to have the safety protocols in place, to be everything from masking to changing their masks, and all of our meets have been decided by the thinnest of margins. So we're mighty proud of our Broncos, but mighty proud of the whole MAC conference and the competitive level we're at.
100%. Look, when you have fans like that who are willing to look like fools with orange wigs on their head, it is a fantastic conference, no question about it.
Loyal moms and dads, you got to
100%. Dr. Edward Montgomery, really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
The MAC Gymnastics Championships from University Arena in Kalamazoo on the campus of Western Michigan University. It continues after this break.
Moments away, David Korzanowski here with Evan Stockton. We'll get you caught up on what happened during Rotation 2 here at the Mid-America Conference Gymnastics Championships. On the vault, it was Western Michigan. They notched up a team score of 48.85. Could not break that 49 mark, but this is one of their other events that they don't perhaps specialize on. 2 9.8s, those were the highest scores from Sarah Moravanski and Carissa Ludwig. And again, a reminder that the lowest score is dropped. Get a look at Stacey Harrison. She was great. This was Moravanski, the freshman, after Stacey Harrison's 9.75. And Peyton Murphy, who will be in the running for the all-around champion of the MAC Conference. This was the anchor, Carissa Ludwig, to finish it off. And that started off the day for Western Michigan. That was their first event after a bye in rotation number 1. Ball State had a busy beginning to this afternoon. Olivia Ostendorf starting it off on the beam. She had a 9.75. Team score for the Cardinals on the beam was a 48.625. Arden Hudson, a little bit disappointing with that 9.55. She's been the leader on the beam all year, but a stellar season nonetheless for Arden Hudson. So you get a look at Bree Slaughter. This was Hudson at the 5th spot. A solid dismount for Hudson. And Evan, how about you tell us about that floor exercise? It was a fun one from NIU.
Well, I will, David, but only because you've asked so nicely. Okay, so here are the 6 scores for the Huskies on the floor. The lower score dropped of that 9.1 for Gabby Welch. Tara Kaufmel has been outstanding all season for NIU, and she did it again. A 9.9 in the MAC Gymnastics Championship meet here in Kalamazoo. Some other sterling scores as well for the Huskies on the floor amongst their 6 in the lineup. Tara Kaufmel with that 9.9 that was utterly fantastic to watch. Bowling Green was on the bars. The Falcons amongst their 6. Again, Bowling Green is a program that has struggled at times in this season, but some solid scores amongst the bunch. Alex Fackler, the anchor, with the 9.8, the highest among the 6 for the Bowling Green Falcons. 7 MAC programs here today for the championship meet. Bowling Green, Ball State, NIU, Central Michigan, Western Michigan, Eastern Michigan among the programs here today. Of course, Kent State is here as well. Eastern Michigan, one of the 7 here. Eastern Michigan coming into this meet with a 29 ranking in the NQS scores across the country. 5 MAC programs in the top 35. Truly incredible stuff, David. And Katie Minnesota for Eastern Michigan in her 4th season has built the Eagles into a really solid program this season.
She has. In 2022 players were 2nd team All-MAC. Jada Rondeau did it again. 2nd team All-MAC as we get started on the bars in Central Michigan after a brief pause during rotation 2.
Chippewas, the regular season champions in the MAC. And a strong showing to start on the bars. Adriana Bustelo was the first in the scheduled lineup. Kent State on the vault, David.
Just missed Cammie Klein on the vault. We'll get you a replay of that, as it is Bowling Green on the beam. Olivia Williams starting things off. She's from Liverpool, England, so comes across the pond for her college career with a beam average of just over 9, but she's capable with that season high of 9.775. She notched up that score at the Air Force quad meet earlier this season. That was just a couple weeks ago on March 7th. Williams keeping that balance as Eastern Michigan gets going on the floor.
Yes, they do, David. The Eagles starting on the left side of your screen. Carly Kosanovich, the junior from Moon Township, Pennsylvania. That's just outside of Pittsburgh, for those of you not quite sure of the geography of Pennsylvania. Carly's a grad of Moon Area High. Kent State competing in the vault on the right, as we see Carly on the left, completing a sterling floor routine.
Here's Rachel DeCavich on the vault for Kent State. Plants that vault, doesn't move her feet at all. And Kent State with a 49.225 on the floor. Off to a hot start on the vault. They are positioned well as we are through just over 2 events.
Sierra Demarinis, number 2 in the lineup on the bars for Central Michigan. Second team in the conference this season. The junior from Montgomery, Massachusetts, which is outside of Springfield. Demarinis couldn't quite stick that landing, but still a solid showing for number 2 in the lineup for Central Michigan.
Back to vault. It's a very quick moving event. This is the freshman Kennedy Weinbert from Mentor, Ohio. 9.681 average this year, and a high of 9.8 versus Ball State in the dual meet. Vault is a quick moving event. It's usually the first of the 4 done during each of these rotations. Started off with the Chippewas on the vault, and then the Western Michigan Broncos. So far, it's Central Michigan with a slight team lead in the vault category. They edged out Western Michigan on this event. Getting ready for Kennedy Weinbert. 7 meets this year, 4 on the vault. Competed in the MAC championships back in 2019. Weinbert. Little bouncy, moves over to the right. Gets a fist bump from head coach Bryce Biggin.
Raisia Boris, the freshman from the Twin Cities suburbs, competing for Eastern Michigan. She's competed in all 4 events this year for the Eagles. Primarily, we've seen her on the floor in the bars. You can see that floor high this year of a 9.85. Her high on the floor came back against Western Michigan on February 21st. We shall see if the good vibes continue on this event for Raisia. Raisia preparing for her final pass on the floor. She's the grad of Park Center High School. Her hometown is Brooklyn Park in the Twin Cities area. Raisia Boris. A strong finish.
Onto the beam, and it's really starting to feel like a party in University Arena right now. 3rd rotation as we get a look at Elena Lawson.
It's Ashley Veglucci, David, on the left side of your screen, competing for Central Michigan on the bars. Moving right along in rotation number 3. Ashley's a sophomore from Coram, New York. That's on Long Island. Of course, it's on Long Island, not in Long Island.
Good catch, Evan. As this is actually, quick correction, we will get to Elena Lawson in just a moment, but this is Paige Bachner. Bachner second on the beam for the Falcons from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Notched up a high of 9.825 versus Ball State this year on the beam, and looks really good on that rotation and routine for the Falcons. Back to vault we go. It's moving quick. This is Carly Franz. Franz, the 5th on the vault. From Marysville, Michigan. So in-state, was one of those gymnasts that really struggled with lack of access to a gym over the summer. Michigan had some of the strictest guidelines in the country, and gymnasts could not touch balance beams. They could not touch uneven bars until the fall of this season. So that was something that all 7 coaches really dealt with a lot, Evan. Something they talked a lot about as an adjustment to the 2021 season. Here she is, Carly Franz. Second to last for the Golden Flashes on the vault.
All right, back to the floor we go. Here's Shannon Gregory for Eastern Michigan. David mentioned earlier, she's from Edison, New Jersey. You ask anyone from there, that's Central New Jersey. We've seen Shannon on the beam already today. Here she is on the floor. Those are her 2 main events for Eastern Michigan. Shannon competing on the left for Eastern Michigan. On the right side, you see the bars continuing for the Central Michigan Chippewas. Kennedy Ray Johnson is on the bars for the Chips. Kennedy completes her routine beautifully. Shannon Gregory comparing for the final pass on the floor. Brad of John P. Stevens High in Edison, New Jersey. Watch her on the left side of your screen.
Olivia Amadei, the anchor on vault, just wrapping up. That will close out the 6 for Kent State on the vault. Amadei with an average of 9.763 on the vault this year. Kent State has now completed 2 events. Now to the beam. It's Elena Lawson, 3rd for the Falcons, following up Paige Bachner. Lawson with that 9.7 high this year. Was also 4th on the vault. She will be 4th on the vault, I should say. Bowling Green finishing up the uneven bars just before the beam here. Lawson. Little jump stop and a chorus of cheers. There is head coach Kerry Turner, who's such a positive individual. Such a pleasure to talk to her on Thursday about this Bowling Green team that really comes in free, comes in loose, and you can see it after a stellar beam routine from Elena Lawson.
David, talking to all the coaches throughout the MAC, whether it's Katie Minnesota at Eastern Michigan or across the board, the ethos, the attitude coming into this event was clear. Look, this is a very competitive conference. This is a very talented conference, and we're happy we finally get to do this after last year. We all kind of had dreams deferred, unintentional quoting of the famous poem, with what happened about a year ago, and now the chance to watch all of these gymnasts compete as we're watching Central Michigan continue on the bars. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, Evan, no doubt. And 2 words that we heard a lot of from the head coaches were being adaptive and being grateful for this season.
Adriana Hammond, the sophomore from Elk Rapids here in Michigan. Number 5 in the lineup for the Central Michigan Chippewas. Up next, Hayden Crossan on the floor for the Eastern Michigan Eagles. Trying to eclipse her high on the floor this year of 9.85. Sophomore from Carmel, Indiana. That's outside of Indianapolis. If you're making a list of top 5 delicious town names in America, that has got to be on it. Well done for Hayden.
She's so fun to watch. There's so much enthusiasm across events, and especially on the floor, you see that personality come out.
Her season high on the floor came just a week ago, last Saturday in a quad meet. Ball State, Central Michigan, and Western Michigan. Hayden Crossan firing up her teammates behind her. As we continue to watch Hayden Crossan in her floor routine for Eastern Michigan, the final pass is coming. Hayden completing her floor routine on the left. Hits that landing well, and we go to the beam and the Bowling Green Falcons on your right.
Jasmine Jones, 4th in line for Bowling Green, and really strong start to this event for the Falcons. 2 9.8s from Olivia Williams and Paige Bachner to start it off. That's a good sign for the Falcons who want to compete here today. A little more on Jasmine Jones from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Went to Carolina Forest High School in her senior year with a high of 9.875 on the beam. That came against Kent State.
On the left, on the bars, pay close attention to Hannah Demers, the sophomore from Canton, Michigan, Central Michigan Chippewa, who has been utterly outstanding in MAC gymnastics this season.
Jasmine Jones had a great dismount for Bowling Green. They've now completed 4 of their 6.
Hannah with another outstanding showing.
Evan, every time I think it can't get louder in this gym with only a couple hundred people, it seems to do just that. Limited fans here, some family and friends, but mainly just these teams and the people working this event. It has been such a show so far.
If the Avicii they're blasting in the background wasn't loud enough, we got the limited fans here in attendance making some noise for us. And I mean, not to get too philosophical on you here, David, but that's what we've missed about sports,
No
right?
doubt.
We've missed live events and hearing everybody cheer and just support whoever they're supporting. It really is something that you miss, of course, and we're getting a little taste of it now and again. We're building back up, and we'll get back to normal hopefully sooner rather than later. You never know for sure. All right, back to the floor we go. Kara Roberts, the junior from Pinckney, Michigan, which is outside of Ann Arbor. Of course, Ypsilanti is the next town over from Ann Arbor. Kara has competed on the vault, the floor, and the beam this year for the Eagles. Her high on the floor is a 9.9 back on the 6th of February. She scored a 9.8 or higher 5 times this year. She is 5th in the lineup for the Eagles. Let's watch her here.
Well, Bowling Green is really putting on a show on the beam right now. 3 9.8s and a 9.7 for the ladies in black and orange. There you get a look at 5th in the lineup. For the Falcons, it's Taylor Jensen, the best all-around gymnast on this team. All-around high this year of 39.35, and she does well on the beam. A 9.85 against Kent State. Jensen effortlessly flipping backwards on the beam, getting ready for her dismount. Now you get a full screen look at Taylor Jensen, the sophomore from North Prairie, Wisconsin. She'll be competing all around today for the Falcons. Keeps that balance. 5th of 6 for Bowling Green. Competed at Salto Gymnastics Center in high school. The dismount at the MAC Championships. Awesome. this beam score could really get Bowling Green back in the mix after some struggles on the uneven bars. They have looked solid and consistent on the balance beam.
Yeah, David, Bowling Green, as we were talking about earlier, they come in kind of the team with nothing to lose,
right.
And that was a very strong showing on the beam. Jada Rondeau completing the lineup of 6. She's the anchor for Eastern Michigan. Senior from Savage, Minnesota, Greta Central High. All MAC second team this season and getting ready to compete at the MAC Gymnastics Championships. Jada has competed in every single event this season for the Eagles. She's been an all-arounder 4 times before today's meets. Her season high on the floor was a 9.9 back on February 6th. There's the Bowling Green Falcons, a successful run, David, as you were so well documenting over on the beam. And now we go to the floor. Jada's ready for her floor routine. Jada's earned all MAC second team each of the last couple of years. A little bit of a shaky start to this floor routine. Jada recovering nicely. Jada has been a very steady presence in the Eastern Michigan lineup during her time in Ypsilanti. Former competitor for Legacy Gymnastics. As Jada completes her floor routine on the left, we watch the Bowling Green Falcons, David, complete their beam lineup on the right.
That's right, Evan. It's Alex Faulkner who will finish it off for Bowling Green.
Jada Rondeau for Eastern Michigan has finished on the floor.
Faulkner with a 9.775 high this year versus Ball State, an average just above 9.5. This is our last competitor of the third rotation. Important to note, out of the teams that have finished 2 events, not everyone has, but out of the teams that have finished 2 events, Kent State currently has the lead. Eastern in second and Central in third. Again, those scores subject to change, and they won't be final until the very end of this day. Here's Faulkner, the senior from Cranberry Township, Pennsylvania, the dismount. And a great close to Bowling Green's best event of the day so far. They have not had a score that has dropped below 9.7.
3 rotations complete at the MAC Gymnastics Championships here in Kalamazoo. 4 rotations remaining. Who wins the MAC Gymnastics Championship?
Ball State getting ready to compete on the floor. The MAC Gymnastics Championships at University Arena. We are starting the 4th rotation out of 7. And we talked to head coach Joanna Salim for the Cardinals. She's in her 8th season, and she was excited for the opportunity that this weekend presents.
Continue to do what we've been doing. And really that has been our mantra, is that this is another meet. It's just another day, another opportunity for us to be able to go out and do gymnastics. And if we can continue to stay present as a team and focus on us and doing what we've been doing, we don't have to do any more. And that's been our biggest thing, is keeping that focus on just what we've been doing. And I think at the end of the day, the gymnastics will speak for itself.
Ball State, a very competitive program within the MAC. Everybody is. But as you can hear Joanna Salim talk about the mantra for her Ball State program entering this one today. Look, I know there's a lot of people here. I know there's a lot of programs. There's a lot on the line. But it is just another meet. I don't know how closely everybody listened to that. Of course, there is certainly a lot of line when you are competing for conference championships like all 7 of the programs are doing today. Okay, let's get to the highlights from our third rotation as we prepare for rotation number 4. Eastern Michigan was on the floor. An Eagles program that entered this one top 30 in the country in NQS, and some more good scores on the floor. They'll drop that lowest score of Rondeau at 9.65, which is really surprising as an anchor to drop your lowest score. The highest amongst the bunch, Hayden Crossan with a 9.875. 4 of the 5 scores taken eclipsed a 9.8 for Eastern Michigan. On the bars, the regular season champs, the Central Michigan Chippewas, competing on the bars. When you've got Hannah Demers as your anchor, you are going to usually put up some very good scores, and there are the ones we saw for the Chips. A 9.9 for Hannah Demers. What another solid showing for her, but bad news for Central Michigan amongst those scores. Next highest score was a 9.775, David, so let's keep an eye on that. If there were betting odds on this thing, I think Central Michigan would be the favorite, but that score on the bars a little bit lower than they may suspect.
Yeah, we got to be keeping an eye on those 9.9s. Only seen a couple so far today. Kent State did not have any 9.9s on the vault, but they notched up a solid team score of 48.7. They are first out of the teams that have completed 2 events. Again, that's that keyword, completed 2 events. Rachel DeCavage with a 9.7. And the crown on the team was Olivia Amadei, 9.775 to close it off. One of the pleasant surprises of the day so far was Bowling Green on the balance beam. They did not notch up a score below a 9.7, or a 9.625, I should say. They were outstanding. They had 3 9.8s between Paige Bachner, Olivia Williams, and Jasmine Jones. That's good enough for a team score of 48.875. So the Bowling Green Falcons are here to play. They're here to compete. Coach Carrie Turner was so excited as this team did really well on the balance beam. They are through 2 events. As Evan, it's getting tight, and we're only about halfway through.
Oh, of course. I mean, look, to quote our friend John Rothstein, this is March, and that just doesn't apply to all the action going on the court. All joking aside, I think there was a sense among the coaches in this conference, David, that we were talking to before today's championships. Look, this thing is going to come right down to the wire. It's going to be razor thin, and it wasn't hyperbole. They meant it when they said it. Anyone can win this thing.
And Kent State looking really good so far. A few teams up in that 97 range. And the floor exercise is really when we see the most personality and the most emotion. Ball State coming up.
Yeah, let's keep an eye for Ball State, of course. Nychik in the middle. Claudia Goyko will be the anchor. Claudia has been a very reliable piece for Ball State in their floor lineup throughout her career. On the bars, it'll be the home team, the Western Michigan Broncos. Winstock will lead it off. Harrison will cap it, and Peyton Murphy, third in the lineup. Every time Peyton does something in a gymnastics meet, your eyes get big and wide, and you're excited to watch her compete.
On the balance beam, Central Michigan a bit ahead of the curve. This is already their 3rd event. As you get a look at the lineup, it's Maylee Vanderbeek who will start things off. And again, keep an eye on Hannah Demers and Sierra DeMarinis. They are your 2 all-arounders for the Chippewas. Vault will be Northern Illinois. They had competed in the floor so far. 3 seniors in the lineup for that vault rotation. Morgan Hooper will start it off. Gabby Welch will close it. And keep an eye on Tara Kaufmo, 5th in line on the vault. And she will be outstanding and worth sticking around for.
Whether you've just joined us an hour and a half into our MAC Gymnastics Championship coverage, or whether you've been with us for the very beginning, on behalf of David Korzanowski and our entire Bronco Productions crew, Evan Stockton saying thanks for hanging. We really appreciate it. A lot of work goes into events like this, as you may expect, and having you watching at home, it makes it all the work, and all the long hours that have put in this week makes it all worth it for us. Okay, David, let's go to the beam and the chips.
Let's do it, Evan. Maylee Vanderbeek. This is just her 2nd time on the beam all season. She's the leadoff on this event for the Chippewas. Her 1 time on the beam this year was an 8.975. Trying to break into the 9 range here at the conference championships. Keep an eye on her on the right.
Hannah Ruthberg starting on the floor. She's the left side of your screen for Ball State. We saw her 2nd in the bars lineup earlier. She was also 2nd on the beam.
Vanderbeek starting off well. From Holland, Michigan, went to Zeeland East High School. Sophomore, competing in just her second meet of the year. Competed in 6 last year. Was tied for second on the balance beam last year with a 9.85 at one of her meets in her freshman campaign. Here's Vanderbeek with the dismount. How about that for your conference championship debut? Central is fired up, and Maylee Vanderbeek, an unlikely hero to start things off for the Chippewas.
So as Hannah continues her floor routine on the left, trying to eclipse her season high of a 9.825. On the right, David, we have the vaults.
Vault getting going for Northern Illinois. It's Morgan Hooper. Morgan Hooper, the junior from Lincoln, Nebraska. Dad played baseball at the University of Nebraska. She took her talents up north to Northern Illinois.
Hannah completing her floor routine on the left, David. Strong first showing for the Ball State Cardinals. Let's watch the vault.
Here's Hooper. Excuse me, Hooper had already notched up a score, so that was Olivia Lind. Olivia Lind second on the vault. The freshman from Westchester, Ohio, looks good, and greeted by head coach Sam Moriel.
The host, Western Michigan Broncos, and Danny Petrusik on the bars. Ronnie Binstock was first to compete in the lineup for the Broncos. Petrusik, a freshman from Rockford, Illinois, went to Rockford Christian High. A little bit of a sloppy landing for Petrusik, and that will hurt the Broncos among their 6 in the lineup for the bars. Back to the vault we go.
Third up is Mia Lord, the senior graduate of Hamilton Southeast High School, stands at 5'3", average score of 9.615 and a high of 9.75. Lord was second team All-MAC in 2020. She was also the MAC Specialist of the Week after competing against Western Michigan last season. She was the balance beam champ back in 2019, helping Northern Illinois to that conference championship 2 years ago. Here's Lord on the vault. Mia Lord, a slight lean right, a big smile, and grabbing that mask ASAP, and she'll trot back to her team.
All right, so on the left, Olivia Ostendorf competing on the floor for Ball State. She's a sophomore from Ramsey, Minnesota. And on the right, David, we have the Chippewas continuing in their lineup on the beam.
It's Amber Mueller, freshman from Wheaton, Illinois. Really hitting our stride here as these events are moving quickly. And these teams are getting going. 4th rotation out of 7. Starting to feel that competition and emotion rise in this gym.
In case you're wondering, Ostendorf, the one on the floor on the left, her high on the floor is a 9.875, as the Chippewas, David, have finished on the right on the beam.
They have. Mueller hoping to match that season high score of 9.9. That's 2 down on the balance beam for Central.
Olivia has been an immediate starter for Ball State since finding her way to Muncie. Competed in all 10 events on the vault and the floor last season. Olivia Ostendorf, the Minnesotan, now competing for Ball State in Indiana. And the adopted Hoosier with a strong showing on the floor. Keep an eye on the right side of your screen on the bars. That's Peyton Murphy for Western Michigan. Vault's on the left side of your screen. NIU preparing to go as we see Peyton Murphy with another outstanding showing on the right.
Here comes Zoe Schroeder on the vault. 4th of 6. Schroeder following up Lord's 9.775, and that might just beat it. You can tell sometimes the teammates give you a little bit of a clue as to how good that score was, how good that routine was, and a stellar landing from Zoe Schroeder, senior, finishing off her final season with the Huskies. Champlain Park alumna.
Why did nobody give me those glasses for the on-camera open? I mean, that is just a missed opportunity.
That would have
Can you
been fun.
imagine, David, how good I would have looked in those?
I think you would have looked great. What I'm wondering is how does the gym look through red tints right now?
I'm sure it looks incredible.
It must. It's got to pop even more than it already does.
Look, if you have the swag to rock those things, God bless you. All joking aside, I don't know if I'm cool enough to rock those glasses. All right, back to the Chippewas on the beam, David. Who's next?
Ashley Viglucci, sophomore from Coram, New York, will be 3rd of 6. See that solid average, just a hair above 9.6 and a high of 9.85. She hit that high against Northern Illinois earlier this year. Competed in 7 meets on the beam before today. Viglucci falls off the bar. Disappointing to see, but Viglucci now just has to turn her sights to finishing off this routine well. Here comes NIU on the vault. It's Tara Kaufmel, the all-arounder for the Huskies. Sticks the landing beautifully. Those legs were like tree trunks once they sunk in to the padding. Didn't move her feet at all, and Kaufmel going crazy with her team as she should. Back to the beam after the slight fall from Ashley Viglucci. Viglucci, a graduate of St. John the Baptist High School, getting ready for her dismount. Here it comes. Awesome. Well, you don't like to fall off the beam, but you love to finish your event like that. Fist bumps from head coach Christine McDonald, and back to the floor we go.
Let's watch Marissa Nychek complete her routine for Ball State. Junior from Fort Myers down in Florida. Beautiful area of the state. She's competed in every single meet for the Cardinals this year. Marissa has finished on the floor. Hannah Demers, the next to compete on the beam for Central Michigan. That's always something you've got to keep an eye on. Western Michigan moving on in their bars lineup.
6th of 6 on the vault. Gabby Welch finishes it off for NIU. Welch, the senior from Greenbrier, Tennessee. And a really solid vault showing from the Huskies. That'll boost their score up. Keep an eye on it in the bottom right corner.
Here's Alexis Olivia, 5'6" senior from North Carolina. Oh boy. And that is unfortunate for Western Michigan.
Good news for the Broncos, though. Sarah Moravanski notching up her season high on the bars just before Alexis Olivier. She scored a 9.875. Her team went crazy. Olivier just getting some more chalk on her hands and getting back out there.
Yeah, this is one of the fun things to watch at a gymnastics meet. I know it's unfortunate when somebody falls like that, but it's corny. It's a testament to the human spirit. You get back up there and try it again. Hopefully nobody at home is rolling their eyes like David is to my right.
Not at all.
You don't have to lie to the audience, David. Come on now. All right, so we're watching Alexis finish her bars routine on the left. Central Michigan and Demers on the beam on the right in just a second. Good for you, Alexis. A strong finish.
That's what it's all about. Start slow, finish fast for Alexis Olivier and the Broncos. Getting ready for the next on the floor and next on the beam. Here's Hannah Demers, who's 4th out of 6 for the Chippewas. She'll be on the right side of your screen, getting ready to get going.
Taylor Waldo for Ball State. She is 4th in their lineup on the floor. Sophomore from Stacy, Minnesota. We've seen a couple of Twin Cities suburbs natives competing today.
Quick conference with head coach Christine McDonald as we get set to go on the balance beam. Hannah Demers will get up there in just a moment. As you can see, her high on the beam this year just below a 9.9. That beam average at 9.763.
There's Taylor beginning her floor routine on the left. This is her 5th time competing on the floor this season. Her season high, A 9-8-2-5 against Kent State not too long ago, back in the 7th. Taylor's a grad of Chicago Lakes High School, the greater Minneapolis-St. Paul area. Starting to get to the part of the year where it's fun to live in those parts of the country again. The snow's starting to melt. We see Taylor compete on the left, on the right. The bars are wrapping up with the Western Michigan Broncos and Stacey Harrison. Stacey has finished the anchor in that lineup for the Broncos. Waldo on the left, finishing her floor routine for the Cardinals.
And Hannah Demers pacing back and forth, waiting for the go code from the two judges. It looked like they had a quick conference about Ashley Veglucci's score at that third spot. They had to make sure that they got that right before they gave the green light to Demers. So Vanderbeek's most recent score actually coming in at 8.625. Slight lineup shuffle for Central Michigan. So Vanderbeek moved from that leadoff spot to third. She was the one who fell off the bar, not Ashley Veglucci. Here's Hannah Demers. Demers from Canton, Michigan. She falls off the bar as well. Time to refocus. Demers still in the running for that all-around crown here at the MAC. She has an all-around high of 39.525 at the home quad meet a couple weeks ago.
Oh boy. David, we talk about For the Beam and Central Michigan, all these programs competing here today. That really is the differentiating factor, and that could be a big factor, the fact that Hannah just fell off that beam.
Demers twice now, unfortunately. She spins around, and beam is such a confidence event. We'll see how she can finish here. She's got to keep that smile and keep that focus to finish it off. Getting a lot of encouragement from her teammates for the dismount. Here it comes. Awesome. Great finish for Hannah Demers. And can't take away from the outstanding season that she has had. Second team All-MAC in 2020. Hannah Demers moving up to first team All-Conference this year.
We shall see how that fall off the beam affects Central Michigan going forward in a razor-thin meet. Every extra point, every tenth of a point you can get is going to be so important. You can see the overall scores on the right side of the screen as Megan Teeter competes on the floor for Ball State. Remember that those scores are not 100% accurate in the sense that there are teams that have competed more than the others so far in the rotation. So take everything a little bit with a grain of salt in that regard. Megan's a sophomore from just outside of Akron. Went to Revere High in the area. She has competed on the floor in every single meet this season for the Cards. Megan with an awkward landing. And she completes for the Cardinals.
Evan, this fourth rotation has been a little bit disjointed. We saw Alexis Olivier fall off the bars. We saw two spills on the balance beam for Central. It just shows how much focus you need to stay locked in the zone for the course of a 3-4 hour event.
Yeah, David, I think that's an excellent point. Look, we've been here for a couple hours now. There's still 3 rotations remaining. After we complete the fourth rotation, there's still about an hour, hour and a half remaining in this championship meet. Today, as much a test as your mental stamina as it is your physical stamina, with so much going on, so much noise, so many people. Yeah, it takes a lot to power through an event like this. You're truly crowned a champion.
And really, each team's going to have their highs and lows throughout the day. They're not going to be perfect across all 4 events. It's going to be about the team that can lock in and put out their best performance across the board. Because other teams will have mistakes as well. Hannah Demers, her score coming in at an 8.7. not what the all-arounder was looking for. But now it shifts to Sierra DeMarinis. She has been just as good as Demers this season. The two all-arounders for the Chippewas going back-to-back on the balance beam. DeMarinis was tied for second on the beam against Kent State with a 9.85 and a stellar routine so far. DeMarinis, 9.875 high on this event this year. Went to Westfield High School. Looks to finish off strong after a couple falls on the beam for Central Michigan. One more coming up after DeMarinis. Again, for those who may not be familiar with gymnastics, I'm assuming most of our viewers are, but balance beam just 4 inches wide. As little room for error as you can get in this sport. DeMarinis, an awesome rebound. Gets Central Michigan some swagger back before the anchor coming up.
And when you perform as well as they just did, yeah, throw on those glasses. You deserve it.
Oh, so
All right.
those are her glasses. Okay.
I guess so.
Good to know.
I
Good to
guess so. Looking great over there. Okay, so here's Ball State rounding out their lineup on the floor. Claudia Goyko, the senior from Buford, Georgia. Let's see if she can tie or maybe eclipse that 9-9 high on the floor this year. She's posted 5 scores above, right at that 9-9 this year for the Cardinals. She has competed exclusively on the floor this year for Ball State. She has been in every single meet. This is her specialty. Time for her to shine. First team in the conference last year, MAC Specialist of the Year for how great she's been on the floor. Chippewas have been working on the beam, of course. With 4 events going on at the same time, they finish at different times. Ball State waiting to complete their routines on the floor with Goyko. Central Michigan is going to be back on the beam in a second here, David.
It'll be the anchor Morgan Tong to finish it off. Sierra DeMarinis doing a great job. 5th out of 6. Putting those glasses back on, getting the momentum back for the Central Michigan side. Morgan Tong from up north, Markham, Ontario. Went to Bill Crothers Secondary School, not high school. That's always a adjustment.
It's like how they spell things with the O and the U. It's just a little bit different.
Exactly. Yeah. First team All-MAC last year was Morgan Tong. And the balance beam is her event. There's no question about it. 9.669 average this year with a 9.9 at the home quad meet. She gets ready to jump onto the balance beam and finish it off for Central Michigan. Man, look at that balance and precision to start it off. So many gymnasts just doing minute handstands during the warm-ups today. Something I could only dream of.
I'd pull every muscle that's in my body if I tried that.
Immediately. Morgan Tong. What a finish on that move. Gains her composure.
Keep an eye on Claudia Goyko on the left as well. One of the stellar gymnasts in the country on the floor beginning her routine for Ball State.
It's always fun to watch the anchors. You can really see it, Evan. These are some of the best gymnasts at their respective events to finish it off. Tong, the dismount. Fantastic! Morgan Tong, first team All-MAC on the balance beam last year. A huge hug from Christine McDonald. After an up and down balance beam event for Central Michigan, they finish extremely strong, and she takes those glasses now.
Claudia Goyko has been outstanding for Ball State throughout her career. Let's see how she closes this floor routine. How does Claudia close? Here comes the final pass. Goyko finishes for the Cardinals, and rotation 4 complete from Kalamazoo. 3 more remaining amongst the 7 competing programs in the MAC Gymnastics Championships. A razor-tight conference coming in. And in the world we're living in, you got to make sure everything is clean and sanitized before rotation 5. It starts. The MAC Gymnastics Championships from Kalamazoo were through 4 rotations. Western Michigan, the site of this year's championships from Kalamazoo, and we're so happy it's happening after last year unfortunately canceled because of COVID. With David Korzenowski and the rest of our crew, Evan Stockton, thanks for hanging with us. David, let's get to the highlights from the 4th rotation. We start with the NIU Huskies on the vault.
They were great. 48.975 team score on the vault. We'll keep an eye on the individual leaders so far, and it's Tara Kaufmo. That 9.85 is the best of any single gymnast on the vault. She right now is in the lead for the vault MAC individual champion. Really solid showing for Sam Moriel's squad as you get a look at just how great these athletes are. Sprinting down and sticking those landings. Tara Kaufmo's landing was maybe the best we've seen on the vault so far. This was her right here. Watch this landing. Perfect. I mean, she barely moves those legs, earning that 9.85. This was the anchor for Northern Illinois. She was outstanding as well. Central Michigan had a tough time on the beam, but it was kind of up and down. They had their highs as well. Starting things off was Adriana Bustello. She is in the lead, or in second place, I should say, for the balance beam score of 9.875. We saw a couple falls as well, but the maroon leotards were flying around the balance beam. Outstanding landings. Team leader was Morgan Tong, the anchor. She was first team all-conference last year. As you saw, some of just the small mistakes with those little room for error. This is Sierra DeMarinis. She had a great dismount, and Morgan Tong stealing the show. A 9.90, that puts her in first on the balance beam event so far.
Yeah, David, it's going to be interesting as you saw Hemmer Demers fall off the beam for Central Michigan, how that will affect them. Of course, Hannah is one of the strongest gymnasts in this conference. Here are the scores for the Ball State Cardinals on the floor. I mean, Hannah Ruthberg starting with a 9.9 at the top. That was outstanding. The very concerning thing, if you're a Cardinal fan out there watching, Claudia Goyko, who has been maybe the best competitor on the floor in this conference the past couple of seasons, she had an even 9. A struggle of a performance for her on the floor, and that hampered Ball State in the overall score. Right now they do have the overall lead in this meet, but of course there are some that haven't competed in as many events as Ball State has yet. So we just saw the highlights for Ball State on the floor. Western Michigan, the home hosting squad, they were on the bars. Broncos, the regular season champs in the MAC last season. Those are the scores on the bars for the Broncos. A couple of 9s tossed in the mix. They'll have to drop one of them. The highest amongst all of those scores, Sarah Moravanski, a 9.875 for the Western Michigan gymnasts. Bowling Green, the Falcons program that entered this meet today with the lowest overall record on the season amongst MAC gymnastics programs, but their head coach, Carrie Turner, she was speaking only positive things entering this championship meet today.
Just the commitment level and the ability to believe, and especially when the path isn't clearly right in front of you, you have a place you want to get to. You have to stay on that journey the entire time, whether you can clearly see the path or not. And they've continued to really have a lot of grit and determination. And it's just been amazing to share those moments where you do see it all come together. And I'm really, really proud of them.
David, both you and I came away very impressed when we talked to Coach Turner a couple of days ago. We can see why those gymnasts who decide to compete for her really want to compete for her, because she is a very enthusiastic and excited individual every time she's coaching up her Falcons. There's the lineup they will have on the floor. And kind of speaking off of what she just said, what you just heard listening and watching at home, yeah, that's kind of the thing that we can feel throughout the conference is that, yes, this is a weird year. I think we can see this in all college sports. But yeah, there's still room to grow and still room to lay the foundation for bigger and better things next year.
2013 MAC Coach of the Year, and her message was, write a great comeback story. Make this an awesome story for Bowling Green, and they're doing well so far. They were awesome on the beam.
Here's the Flashes lineup on the bars. Olivia Amade will kick it off. She's the sophomore. Madison Trotz will be the anchor, the junior for Kent State. Kent State program that has had a lot of success over the years. What will be their final story when this championship meet ends in just a few hours? Here's the lineup for the Eagles on the vault, David.
Katie Minnesola will watch her team compete on their third event. They finished up the floor and the balance beam. And it's business as usual for Katie Minnesola's starting squad on vault. And it'll be Western Michigan on the balance beam. We saw some outstanding scores from the Broncos here in their dual meet against Eastern Michigan. That was Peyton Murphy's season high of a 9.95 on the balance beam. If they can get a big score on the beam, Western Michigan is right back in this conference championship.
The Falcons begin on the floor. Megan Decius, who has posted a high of 9.7 on the floor this season for BG. Megan, a freshman from Mesa, Arizona. She's competed in every single meet this season on the floor for the Falcons. Let's get a look at the beam on the right side of the screen, David.
Starting it off on the beam is Ronnie Binstock. She starts in 3 of 4 events. We already saw her lead off on the vault. We saw her lead off on the uneven bars. Binstock, season average on the beam of a 9.722. Slight balance check to the left, but does a good job staying on that 4-inch piece right below her feet.
Megan's floor routine going well for Bowling Green.
Binstock gets set for the dismount from Severna Park, Maryland. Turns back towards her team. 2 judges looking on. 4 judges now, excuse me, at the conference championship meet. Got to bring out the big guns for the MAC championship. Binstock. Nice landing. Leans forward a little bit. Saw some balance hesitancies from Binstock, but a good start on the balance beam for the Broncos.
Penny Jernigan has only great things to say about Ronnie Binstock. Let's go back over to the vault.
It's Jada Rondeau. High on the vault, 9.825. Not as many 9.9s on the vault. It's one of the more difficult events out of these 4. Rondeau gets that hype from head coach and company. Takes a deep breath. Nods her head, waiting for the green light. Rondeau begins her sprint towards the springboard. Here she goes. Great start for the Eagles. Jada Rondeau, high of 9.825 on the vault this year. Likely going to beat that score, starting it off for Eastern Michigan.
Back over to the bars in Kent State. Olivia Amade has already competed for them. Maddie Iannuzo, the next up. Another junior from Indiana, another native of Carmel. And a strong landing. Full name is Madison, but on our lineup sheet, she goes by Maddie. Not sure how the parents feel about that.
To the vault for the 3rd of 6, Carly Kasanovich from Moon Township, Pennsylvania. Kasanovich specializes on the floor in the vault. We saw her on the floor earlier today. Average on the vault, 9.685. High was a 9.8. Kasanovich went to Moon Area High School. This will be her final event of the MAC Championships.
Olivia Williams is on your left. She's competing on the floor. Sophomore from Liverpool in England. I'll save you the joke about the Beatles I had planned before.
Kasanovich trying to follow up Rondeau's outstanding score. She got a 9.8 flat. Here comes Kasanovich. 3rd of 6 for the Eagles. Jumps forward, lands, flashes up the arms, and grabs her mask. Already halfway done on the vault for Eastern Michigan.
Olivia on the floor this year for Bowling Green, a 9.75. That was her high against Kent State last Friday on the 12th. When we talked to Bowling Green's coaching staff about the event that they were most concerned about, the one they mentioned was the beam. Speak of the devil, Western Michigan, and Danny Petrusik is on the beam right now, David.
Danny Petrusik subbing in for Josephine Thomas. We saw her come in on the vault as well. Josephine Thomas usually at that number 2 spot on both the vault and the beam, but Petrusik gets a shot. Petrusik, the freshman from Rockford, Illinois. 9.725 high on the balance beam this year. Her dismount. Great work from Danny Petrusik.
We had a good old-fashioned double dismount on the double box. Carly Franz on the left finished for Kent State. She's a 5'5" sophomore from Marysville here in Michigan.
Fourth in line on the vault is Molly Paris, Hudson, Ohio. 9.747 average this year and a 9.8 high. Kasanovic notching up a 9.775. The Eagles looking good on the vault so far. Big stride from Paris. You got a great look at that landing and how fantastic that was. You can see just how quickly they're moving in as well. Feet rotating over her head and sticks the landing on that mat.
The whole Eagles lineup loving that.
They really bring the juice. A lot of these teams do, but especially Eastern Michigan. It seems like they are always going crazy, led by head coach Katie Minnesota.
Look, we're living in a world where there's not many people allowed in athletic events, so you got to bring the juice one way or another. I know I'm not breaking any news to you gymnastics fans out there watching when I tell you that the lineups often bring the juice, but this year more important than ever, of course. Here's Jade Brown, Michigander from Lansing. She's on the bars on the left. We double box in Western Michigan on the beam on the right.
This is Josephine Thomas getting bumped down from second in line to third. She gets set to go as Danny Petrusik just went for the Western Michigan Broncos.
Watch Jade Brown on the left. She hits the landing for Kent State. She's had a 9.8 or higher on the bars 5 times this season. And her bars routine is complete.
Hayden Crossan, her third event of the day. We saw her on beam, we saw her on floor. She'll compete all around today at the MAC Championships. 9.925 high. And you can hear it for yourself. Hayden Crossan, 5th of 6, and Eastern Michigan really making a push in their third event.
Here's Alex Fockler on the floor for Bowling Green, senior from Cranberry Township in Pennsylvania. Trying to eclipse her season high of a 9.775 on the floor. She's competed in 3 events this year for Bowling Green: the beam, the bars, and the floor. She's a senior, so this could be one of her last times competing for Bowling Green. Here goes the senior, and her final pass on the floor. A strong finish for Alex Fockler.
Getting ready for the anchor on vault. Kara Roberts follows up Hayden Crossan's 9.825 and gets another chorus of cheers. This is an Eastern Michigan team that had struggled on the vault. We're ranked 42nd in the country coming in to this afternoon. But that's one of their best vault showings of the season. You can feel the enthusiasm.
Rachel DeCavich for Kent State. She's had a 9.9 on the bars this year. That bars average a 9.82. is very, very good. And another solid showing for the sophomore. Maddie Trott will be the anchor on the bars for Kent State. But for now, we go to the beam.
Josephine Thomas with that pause before she hops on. Sometimes the judges have to double check, corroborate scores, make sure everything is running up to speed and smoothly as we are in the 5th of 7 rotations. Thanks so much for joining us here on this Saturday afternoon. This has been a blast to watch, and we're nearing crunch time. 5 of 7. Eastern, Kent State, Western, and Bowling Green all competing in their 3rd event here in rotation 5. Josephine Thomas. A great start on the beam. You can see the grin. So excited with herself, keeping that composure for the rest of her routine. 9.85 high on the balance beam this year. It came against Central Michigan. Thomas. Awesome. Thomas flutters the leg, spins back around. Trying to bump up that Western Michigan score here in the 5th rotation. 3rd event of the day for the Broncos. Here comes Thomas. Awesome from Josephine Thomas. She's so excited. Coach Penny Jernigan first to greet her.
We got the double box. Kent State just finished on the bars with Maddie Trott. She was their anchor on the bars, and now Bowling Green competes on the floor. Competing on the floor for Bowling Green, it's Elena Lawson. Floor average just a touch above 9.6 on the season. In case you're just joining us, this is the 3rd event that Bowling Green has competed in. Of course, we're in the 5th rotation right now. Bowling Green has had the bars, the beam, and now the floor so far. Elena Lawson. It's the landing for the Falcons. Elena's a senior from Marietta, Ohio. What could be her final collegiate pass. It's been a great career for her. And she'll finish and go celebrate with her teammates.
Vault and bars have wrapped up. That's been about par for the course through the first 4 rotations. It's always beam and floor that move a little bit more slowly. Got to double check those scores, and also the routines are so much more elaborate and in-depth. Moravanski gets set to go to follow up Josephine Thomas. Moravanski went to Linganore High School. 4th out of 6 on the balance beam for Western Michigan. Moravanski competed for Frederick Gymnastics Club. 2nd in the vault in the Region 7 championship back in high school. And a great start to that beam rotation for the freshman. Maybe even a yell of excitement from Moravanski after landing that. As we approach the dismount now, the most important part of a beam rotation. Moravanski collects herself. Goes back. She seems pleased with herself so far. What score can she notch up on the balance beam for Western Michigan in just her freshman year? Sarah Moravanski. Huge, huge score coming for Sarah Moravanski and Coach Penny Jernigan. First to greet her for that rotation.
Coach Jernigan was so excited to have this event here this year. Of course, couldn't have it last year. is excited to bring the conference here and was excited that we'd have the coverage for you on ESPN Plus and ESPN3.
I'm just in awe of how many moving parts there are and how well organized it is, because it's no small feat to put on a conference championship, especially in a basketball gym, and bring in all this equipment. It's been fun to watch.
We showed you the time lapse earlier. Who doesn't love a good time lapse video, right? Of all the work that went into this event. Bowling Green continues in the rotation on the floor. Falcons scheduled to go through Megan Decius, Olivia Williams, Alex Fackler, Elena Lawson, Kayla Chan, and Taylor Jensen were the scheduled 6 in the lineup. Kayla Chan had a change-up on us. She was scheduled to go 5th. She actually went 2nd in the rotation of this lineup for Bowling Green. Bowling Green continuing their floor routine in rotation 5. Couple more to go after this. Again, as you look at the scores in the bottom right corner of the screen, not everybody has caught up to one another in terms of events. We'll keep those scores updated for you throughout the final couple of rotations, and we will make sure to keep you updated on who will win the individual championships, not just team championships, on the line today.
Charlotte Tishkoff throws her hat in the ring for the individual championship on the balance beam. 5th of 6 with the star Peyton Murphy coming up after her. Charlotte Tishkoff, a 9.721 average on the beam this year. She's hit a 9.875 twice. From Red Mountain High School in Scottsdale, Arizona. Flashes up the W, signaling to her teammates for Western Michigan. Sarah Moravansky, who just preceded her, with a 9.725. That's highest on the team so far. Also, like my partner Evan mentioned, those scores on the bottom right. Eastern Michigan and Kent State are tied for the lead right now out of teams that have completed 3 events now. Western and Bowling Green still have one more score coming in. As Tishkoff dismounts. She got it. Charlotte Tishkoff competes on uneven bars, balance beam, and the floor. Finishes up on the beam with Peyton Murphy, the anchor, coming up next for the Broncos.
Peyton Murphy is the one you want to anchor Western Michigan. She has been outstanding in this conference since she joined a couple of years ago.
Yeah, first team all-conference, Evan, and that 9.95 was one of the highlights of Western Michigan's season. She hit a 9.95 on the balance beam against Eastern Michigan just about a month ago.
As Western Michigan prepares for that, Bowling Green continues in their lineup on the floor. This is Taylor Jensen. Her floor high this year, a 9.875 for the Falcons. Taylor's from North Prairie, Wisconsin. That's about 45 minutes from Milwaukee. Been an all-arounder the entire season for the Falcons. You just saw her season high on the floor. That's a 9.875. She's done that a couple of times. Last time she did it was against Kent State last Friday on the 12th. It's the last meet that Bowling Green had. Taylor's part of a big family. One brother, couple of sisters. I'm sure they are watching somewhere. Taylor still has more competing to do in her collegiate career. She's just a sophomore. She has finished her routine at the MAC Championships in 2021.
Buckle up, folks. Peyton Murphy is on the balance beam. Anchor coming for the Broncos. First team all-conference. One of the best gymnasts in the MAC. 9.95 high. It came against Eastern Michigan on February 21st. She follows up Charlotte Tishkoff's 9.775. You get a look at her team. Marked off by that arena with the MAC logo and the balance beam lettering. All watching in anticipation. Peyton Murphy. Slips off the bar and quickly gets back on. Degree of difficulty on that try, though, was well up there. Something that the judges will definitely keep in consideration. Murphy. Again, competing all around, trying to be the individual all-around champion in the MAC. This is the final event, final gymnast of the 5th rotation out of 7. It's Peyton Murphy for the Broncos, the dismount. Awesome, just the one slip off the bar. Peyton Murphy has finished out the 5th rotation for the MAC championship. Rotation number 6 coming up. Eastern finishing on vault, Kent on the bars, Western Michigan on the beam, and Bowling Green on the floor. 2 rotations to go in Kalamazoo. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back for the 6th.
5 rotations down, 2 to go at the MAC Gymnastics Championships here in Kalamazoo. We got to crown a champion for the first time in a couple of years. NIU won at this meet in 2019. Remember, there are still some teams that haven't caught up to each other in terms of events. But, David, as we look at the scores so far, we see a dead heat at the top, Eastern Michigan and Kent State. And speak of the devil, let's get to the highlights from that 5th rotation, which included Kent State on the bars. But first, Bowling Green on the floor. Falcons team that entered this one last of the MAC in terms of record this season. Solid scores on the floor for them. The highest, Olivia Williams with a 9.8, and Taylor Jensen, the anchor, with the ultimate highest score of a 9.825 for Bowling Green.
Bowling Green right now, Evan, don't blink, but they're 3rd out of teams that have competed in 3 events. They're ahead of Ball State, Central Michigan, and Western Michigan.
Now, Kent State, when we're looking at the meet standings overall, they're right near the top as well. We mentioned they were tied for first. There are their scores on the bars amidst their 6 in the lineup. They'll drop that lowest score of a 9.52 for Jade Brown. 3 9.8s. DeCavich, Franz, and Amade had the 3 9.8s for the Kent State Golden Flashes, looking for another MAC championship in gymnastics. That was Jade Brown completing the lowest score amongst the rotation. She's been really, really good. That was weird to see for her on the bars. Let's go to the Broncos in the beam. David?
Western Michigan, a 48.35 team scored. Not their best showing on the beam. Danny Petrosik, a late substitution into the lineup with a 9.5. Then stop, 9.65. And the best score out of those 6 was 9.775 from Charlotte Tishkoff. Peyton Murphy did fall off the bar. Unfortunate for her, but Western Michigan still very much in the MAC championship hunt. This was Sarah Moravanski. She had a 9.775, and you can just see the emotion and enthusiasm that comes with these events, and especially the thrill of the balance beam. Well, Eastern Michigan came into this afternoon 42nd in the country in vault, but they put up their season best score on the vault, a 49.05 team score. Had a handful of 9.8s with Callie Harden, Jada Rondeau, and Kara Roberts, but the best on Eastern Michigan was Molly Paris with a 9.85. That ties her for the individual lead in the vaults with Tara Kaufmel from Northern Illinois. This was Molly Paris. You'll get a look at this outstanding vault from Hayden Crossan. Hayden Crossan competing all around. As we get set for the 6th rotation, it will be Central Michigan on the floor. And we talked with Christine McDonald, the head coach for the Chippewas, and her message was all positivity as her team tries to capture a conference championship.
We knew it was coming. It's been on the schedule. So it's no surprise, I really think, just stay focused on the details, be deliberate with your actions. We always have a set word each week, and just staying true to the process, what works for this team, and really understanding, that we've put in place a good process. And I really believe that all the stepping stones are there and the trust is there. So again, just to really keep it simple, enjoy the moments, and really just be thankful for this opportunity.
Well, you can see Christine McDonald just in her second season. She graduated from Central Michigan back in 1992, coached Morgan Tong to first-team All-Conference last year on the balance beam, and they have a solid floor lineup as well.
They absolutely do. The Chippewas, who won the regular season championship in this conference. Here will be their lineup on the floor. The Chippewas seeking a championship here at the MAC Gymnastics Championship meet. Sierra DeMarinis will be the anchor for them. On the bars, NIU and the Huskies will start with Lauren Gomes, the redshirt senior. Natalie Hamp will be the anchor as a sophomore for NIU. Huskies program that is looking to end their season strong, of course, in a season that has been so unpredictable in so many collegiate sports.
Well, fourth and final event for Kent State. This is their last chance to impress the judges. They're tied for the lead in the conference right now. Samantha Henry will start it off, the junior, and keep an eye on Rachel DeCavich, again, competing all around in her sophomore season. On the vault, Ball State will also compete in their fourth and final event. They will finish it off close to us on the vault. You get a look at Coach Joanna Saline. Some last-minute coaching here at the conference championships. You got Arden Hudson starting it off. We saw her on the beam earlier this afternoon. And it's getting down to crunch time, Evan. You can see gymnasts starting to look up at that scoreboard a little bit more.
We're getting to the part of this meet on a day where most of these teams have been here for many, many hours. We started at 2 o'clock. This is where you start to ramp things back up. David, you were talking about it. Everybody is looking at the score. Everybody is trying to jockey for position as we enter rotation 6 of 7.
And again, really impressive from Bowling Green. So far through 3 events, they're third out of the 6 teams that have competed in 3 different events.
Ashley Beglucci will start on the floor for Central Michigan, the sophomore from Coram, New York. Graduate of St. John the Baptist out on Long Island. Ashley competed in only 1 meet for Central Michigan last season. She has become a steady part of the lineup this season. She has been on the floor in every single meet this season for the Chips.
On the balance beam, you got a quick look at Sam Henry. She'll be starting it off for the Golden Flashes. The junior from Hershey, Pennsylvania, had a 9.825 balance beam high against Ball State.
Ashley has finished on the floor for Central Michigan. Let's watch the beam for Kent State and as they complete it here, David.
Sam Henry getting ready for the dismount. She is a beam specialist, doesn't compete in any other event. 10 regular season meets on the balance beam. This is the conference championship. Sam Henry looking to start it off strong for Kent State, who's tied for the lead. And a great start for Sam Henry. A soft smile and a hip bump with her assistant coach. Back to vault we go with Ball State. Arden Hudson just finished up for the Cardinals. This will be Olivia Ostendorf. 9.692 average, 9.775 high. Score to chase right now is 9.85. Tara Kaufmel and Molly Paris tied for the individual lead on the vault.
Ball State competing on the vault. Here's NIU on the bars. They began in their lineup, the Huskies did, with Lauren Gomes, who is back on the bars after a fall. And it's complete for NIU.
Ball State, Kent State, and Central Michigan, all of them in their last event of the day here on rotation 6. They'll all have a rest period during rotation 7 where they can nervously bite their nails and look at the score. It's about all you can do at that point.
I know, right? You said it, not me. Here's Nora Fettinger, senior from Hemlock, Michigan. She's next up on the floor for Central Michigan. Been on the floor in every single meet this season for CMU.
Here is the vault. Awesome job from Olivia Ostendorf, following up Arden Hudson's 9.525. Olivia Ostendorf from Michigan.
Back to the floor we go. Speaking of Michigan, here's the Michigander. Nora Fettinger competing for Central Michigan. Her high this year on the floor, as you see, a 9.9. That was back on the 7th. She's had a 9.8 or higher 3 times this year. Nora is not just an outstanding gymnast. At Hemlock High School, she was the class valedictorian, and she was twice the class vice president. And in her free time, she played soccer and ran track.
Sounds like a normal day at the office, right?
You know, some people just maximize their time better than we do.
Clearly.
Nora completing her floor routine for Central Michigan in this 6th rotation. Everything getting that much more important. We're watching NIU compete on the bars on the right side of the screen. Alyssa Al-Ashari, the next on the bars for NIU. We get a look as well, David, at the beam on the left side for Kent State.
Sarah Haxton for the Golden Flashes, second on the beam from Fortville, Indiana, 9.875 high this year, came against Central Michigan. Again, Kent State in a dead heat with Eastern Michigan, and this is their last event of the day. Coach Biggin looking to get back atop the MAC. 11-time MAC Coach of the Year. Watches on as Sarah Haxton is second of 6 for the Golden Flashes on the balance beam. Average just below a 9.6. Seen a few slips off the beam today. Kent State. Haxton, 4-time honor roll as well as we get set for the uneven bars in Northern Illinois. A great dismount from Haxton.
We've sung her praises earlier in this meet today, but we may as well do it again. Tara Kaufbell has been awesome for NIU. She's about to compete on the bars. There she is. Junior from Mesa, Arizona.
Here comes Stephanie Schweikert, 4th on the vault. She landed it. She couldn't believe it almost. So excited. Following up Marissa Knightcheck. A little more on Schweikert. 9.717 average this year on vault. She's a vault specialist, so that was her time in the spotlight here at the MAC Championships.
Tara Kaufmel is the complete opposite for NIU. She's been an all-arounder every single meet this year for NIU. When we asked the coaching staff for a gymnast that has impressed them throughout the season, Tara was the first name that they mentioned. Sydney Williams is on the left in the floor routine for Central Michigan as Kaufmel is back on the bars. Tara finishes strong. And now we see the senior, Sydney Williams. Native of Germantown, Tennessee, went to Faith Heritage Christian down in the southern part of the United States.
Victoria Henry, 5th of 6. Again, vault moves very quickly. Stephanie Schweikert with an even 9.8. That's a great score for Ball State. Marissa Knightcheck with a 9.85. It's tied for the individual lead in the conference. Here's Victoria Henry. That'll help out the 9.716 average. She's hit a 9.925 high. She would love one of those today. Over on the beam, this is the 3rd in line, Riley Danielson. Sarah Haxton just finished up a 9.75 routine. And Danielson impressing with some flips backwards to the far end of the bar on the left side. 9.729 average on this event this year, a high of 9.85 against the Huskies. She's from St. Bonifacius, Minnesota. Junior stands at 5'1". She's been awesome. Kent State trying to close it out strong. They just have 4 more gymnasts here on this Saturday afternoon.
Morgan Hooper next up in the bars lineup for NIU, the junior from Lincoln, Nebraska.
Danielson keeping that balance well on the right side. Drops down to that left knee.
Morgan Hooper sticks the landing for NIU.
Danielson will try to do the same for Kent State. Awesome finish for Riley Danielson with Kent State. On the other side, on the vault, it was Bree Slonim, the last gymnast to go for the day for Ball State. They have finished up here in Kalamazoo. MAC 2021 Conference Championships in the books for the Cardinals. We'll see what their final score was.
Now the waiting process begins for them, David, as you were talking about earlier. Some nails are about to be bitten back there. Ball State. Can't quite see what's going on underneath those masks, but I'm sure there's some nervous faces. Back to the floor we go in the Central Michigan Chippewas. It's Taylor Pitchell. Sophomore gymnast for the Chip. She grew up just outside of Hartford, Connecticut, 5 miles away. She has competed in every meet this year on the floor. Check it, that's Hannah Demers competing for Central Michigan. Slotted 4th in the lineup on the floor for Central Michigan in this one. Hannah Demers, who has been an outstanding all-around gymnast this year for Central Michigan. Although she did struggle earlier today on the beam, she had a fall. Hannah has been named the Gymnast of the Week in the conference 4 times this year. As we see the competition continuing on the bars for NIU. Brooklyn Sears was 5th in the lineup. Demers with a strong showing on the floor. Hannah Demers, an outstanding competitor for Central Michigan. Hannah finished this season, David, with the MAC's top national qualifying score on the bars, the floor, the all-around. She is quickly making a name for herself across the world of gymnastics.
What an awesome finish for her, competing all around. That was her last routine of the day as Central Michigan is wrapping up with Kent State on the beam. It's Rachel Dekavich. This is her last routine of the day as well. Dekavich, 4th of 6. And head coach Bryce Biggins said, it's all about bringing the best out of your gymnasts in important meets like this. Dekavich, not quite her best as she falls off and to the left. But we saw the same from Peyton Murphy. This is not a worst case scenario for Kent State. But with just 3 gymnasts left, you really want to be converting as well as possible and try to capture for your team a conference championship. Dekavich, an awesome dismount on the right. Makes up for that fall well. And just 2 gymnasts to go for the Golden Flashes here in 2021.
You see NIU competing on the bars. Their anchor is Natalie Hamp. Well done, Natalie Hamp. The Huskies are loving that. All smiles and all celebration for Natalie, David.
And it's important to note, NIU lurking back in the standings because this is just their 3rd event. So they're playing a little bit from behind, but they still have a chance to capture this crown today.
We go back to the floor in Central Michigan. Again, in case you're just joining us on a full afternoon of gymnastics from Kalamazoo, Central Michigan was the regular season champion. In rotation number 6, the plot is thickening as if they will be the champions here today. Maglucci, Fettinger, Williams, and Demers have been the ones competing so far for Central Michigan. The scheduled 6 for the Chippewas in their lineup on the floor were Maglucci, Fettinger, Williams, Pitchell, Demers, and one of their finer gymnasts, Sierra Damarinis. Another floor routine complete for Central Michigan. Great big smile for Taylor Pitchell.
Floor is just so fun to watch. You can really see the personality of these teams. It's almost like the culminating event. And for Central Michigan, what a great way to finish off this afternoon, finishing on the floor. Central also has a really strong floor team, 18th in the country heading into this afternoon. Cami Klein will pick it up for the Golden Flashes on the balance beam. Rachel DeCavage had a bit of a disappointing routine with a slip off the bar, but we saw the same thing from Peyton Murphy on Western. This is an event that can take down even the finest gymnasts, and it's a team effort at this point. Cami Klein, the junior from Zionsville, Indiana. It's down by Indianapolis. 9.85 high on the beam this year. It was at Pitt to start off the season. Klein, second to last gymnast of the conference championship meet for Kent State. Awesome landing, and Cami Klein is all smiles. One gymnast to go for the Golden Flashes.
David, you mentioned that Central Michigan is completing its output here today. The MAC Gymnastics Championships on the floor. Sierra Damarinis is the last one to compete for Central Michigan. Sierra's a junior from Massachusetts. You see that 9.95 on the floor this year as a high. What is her capper in MAC competition this season? Let's find out.
Also worth noting, Evan, front runner right now in the all-around championship is Marissa Knightchick for Ball State with a 39.025.
Right now the leaders in all the categories. Tara Kaufmel in the vault for NIU. Hannah Demers on the bars for Central Michigan. Morgan Tong on the beam for the Chippewas. And Abby Fletcher right now is slated as the winner on the floor with a 9.925. But Sierra still has something to say here. Sierra Damarinis. A great finish. And the Central Michigan Chippewas are done. And rotation 6 is done as well for Central Michigan. Still got a little bit more competition to go. We've still got the beam to go, David, and we go back to Kent State.
Kent State right now. The magic number is a 9.675. That would tie them with Ball State for the lead out of teams that have competed all 4 events. Abby Fletcher will do her best. A 9.9 here would move Kent State into the outright lead with 4 teams yet to compete one more event. Fletcher, awesome to start it off. From Oradell, New Jersey, the 5'4" senior drops down to that right knee. 9.695 average on the balance beam. The anchor and the final gymnast of the day for Kent State. Let's listen in. Well, Kent State, with the score coming in from Cami Klein, has moved in front of Ball State. They'd like some more cushion. Here's Fletcher. Little jump stop on the dismount, and that'll do it for the Golden Flashes. And it's been fun to watch the ladies in orange and blue here today.
All right, David, we're 6 rotations down. 1 more rotation remaining at the 2021 MAC Gymnastics Championships from Kalamazoo. We got to crown champions. The overall team champion is crowned after rotation 7, which starts in just a few minutes from Kalamazoo. who will be the champions in the Mid-American Conference. One more rotation to go at the MAC Championships in 2021 from Kalamazoo. There are your scores. It's razor tight, as you may suspect. Every single coach in this conference thought it was going to be close. Right now, Kent State, the Flashes in position with one more rotation to go. Let's get to the highlights from rotation 6, which just happened a few seconds ago. Chippewas competing on the floor. They were the regular season champs, but as of right now, they are in position to be behind in these championships today. There are the scores. Sydney Williams in the middle. They're the lowest score that they dropped with a 9-1-5. Sierra De Marinis, the anchor, with the 9-9, the highest score for Central Michigan. Some really solid performances on the floor. Chippewas left it all out on the floor, pun intended, in their last event here today. NIU on the bars. The Huskies still with one more event remaining in this final rotation. There are the scores in rotation 6. Hamp with the 9-9 as the anchor. That was the highest score they had amongst the bars, and you could tell it right away as she landed that one, David. Uber impressed, really happy with her score of a 9-9. The entire team reacting to how Natalie finished on the bars. NIU with the one more event remaining, but a good finish on the bars for them.
Trying to go back-to-back with a brief pause in 2020 are the Northern Illinois Huskies. Ball State finished off their afternoon on the vault. Team score of 48.85. Not the best, not the worst. 3 9.8s, and Marissa Knightchick with a 9.85. That ties her for the individual lead on the vault event. No gymnast has broken 9.9 on the vault today. Arden Hudson struggled a little bit to start it off, but Victoria Henry and Bree Slana closed it out well for the Cardinals. Total team score for Ball State finishing up at 194.8. They'll double check those scores and make sure that everything is accounted for. This was Bree Slana, the anchor for Ball State. How about Kent State on the beam? They were in position to maybe take the conference championship here, and still are. Another solid event for the Golden Flashes. Team lead was Riley Danielson with a 9.8. That Rachel DeCabbage score of 9.2 will be dropped, so no need to sweat for the Flashes fans out there. Will hurt her all-around score, though. DeCabbage slipping up on the bar, similar to Peyton Murphy for Western Michigan. A couple great dismounts for Bryce Biggins' squad. And Kent State making a case that they can and should be the 2021 conference champions. Katie Minnesota, the head coach for Eastern Michigan, getting ready for her team to finish off on the uneven bars. And her team can finish in first as well. Let's hear what she had to say before the event this weekend.
It was a lot of adversity, and with the summer going through that and not having been able to be in the gym, it's also kind of found their passion for gymnastics again and a new love for the sport. I mean, not that they didn't love it before, it's just kind of when something's taken away from you, you kind of realize, oh my gosh, I really do love what I'm doing, and kind of opened our eyes a little bit. So it's kind of helped us kind of find that love again, and like I said, be a little bit more efficient and in the gym.
Katie Minnesota, David, who we just heard speaking, she was talking about how all of Eastern Michigan's gymnasts have kind of rediscovered their love for gymnastics. There's the lineup they'll have on the bars. It's kind of similar to, I think, the way we all feel about everything after COVID, and we couldn't do normal things. Once you get to do normal things again, you just appreciate it a little bit more, huh?
No doubt. It's so fun to see these gymnasts competing at the highest level in a really improved conference, Evan. I mean, this is one of the strongest years in the MAC in conference history, and Eagles want to take it home after the uneven bars.
So does the home squad, the host squad. The Western Michigan Broncos will close on the floor. Carissa Ludwig will be their anchor. Sarah Moravanski, the freshman, will kick it off. Petrusik, Harrison, Binstock, and Murphy complete the rest of the lineup. David, who will be in the vault lineup for Bowling Green?
Vault coming up for the Bowling Green Falcons, and they are making waves right now. They are right in the middle of the pack as well, not trailing down at the bottom as we take a look at Paige Bachner, who will start it off, Olivia Williams, and Taylor Jensen. They're all around her from Bowling Green. She will go fifth. It will be on the balance beam, Northern Illinois. Sam Moriel's squad will finish off on perhaps the hardest event here on this Saturday afternoon. Alyssa Alashari will start it off, the freshman, and they'll work their way up the class rankings as 3 seniors will close it out for the Huskies.
It's interesting how things like that work, right, David?
No doubt, no doubt. This has been so fun to watch and really so much to be decided in the next 20 minutes.
Well, we appreciate you hanging out, whether you're just joining us for the final rotation or you've been with us for the last 3 hours. Thanks for hanging. Let's start rotation 7, David, with the vault.
Paige Bachner moves that right foot back just a little bit. Bachner from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, leading off on the vault. She was second on the balance beam, a 9.625 high on the vault this year.
The Western Michigan Broncos on their home turf in University Arena, beginning on the floor. And it's Sarah Moravanski beginning for Western Michigan. Freshman from Maryland, who has been an all-arounder all year for the Broncos. Bronco gymnastics fans are very quickly getting acquainted with what Sarah can do. Her high this year on the floor, a 9.85 that came back on February 6th. This is quite the start for her. We double box in the bars on the right, the Eastern Michigan Eagles beginning over there. That's Kara Roberts competing on your right. Kara completes her bars routine. Moravanski continuing her routine on the left side. We've got the beam on the right as well.
Alyssa Al-Ashari starting it off for Northern Illinois. They are in a dead heat with Eastern Michigan out of those 2 teams that have only competed in 3 events so far. Al-Ashari, the freshman from Lansing, Michigan, high on the beam of 9.775.
Moravanski completing her routine on the floor. Her teammates are going to love that. 1 down, 5 to go for the Broncos.
Al-Ashari, a level 10 top 100 gymnast in 2017 and 2018. As you get a look at the vault, it's Olivia Williams for Bowling Green. Williams, a nice landing for the Liverpool native. Average on the vault this year was 9.6. Nice landing from Al-Ashari for Northern Illinois. Al-Ashari, lots of high fives. Northern Illinois and Eastern Michigan can maybe catch Kent State. Kent State right now positioned in first with 195.475. That's the score to watch. If a team could break 196, they would be in great shape. Al-Ashari doling out hugs. That'll finish up her season in the MAC.
Back to the bars in the Eastern Michigan Eagles. Hayden Crossan scheduled to compete second for EMU. Strong start for her. How does Hayden finish? Like that. 2 down on the bars for the Eagles.
You can just feel that positivity, especially from that Eastern Michigan team. They have been such a joy to watch compete this afternoon and all season.
Back to the floor. And Western Michigan, Danny Petrusik, another freshman from Rockford, Illinois, competing for the Broncos, number 2 in their lineup on the floor.
The next vaulter for the Falcons is Kate Goldstrom. Goldstrom from Pittsburgh as well, just like her teammate Paige Bachner. Coach Kerry Turner doing some recruiting in the Pennsylvania area. Goldstrom, 9.8 high on the vault this year. Can she beat it? Here she goes. Fantastic from Kate Goldstrom.
We go back to Danny Petrusik on the floor as you keep an eye on it at home in the final scores in this final rotation. 9.85 was Moravanski's score for Western Michigan. First one in the lineup for WMU.
This is when we're just scoreboard checking constantly, seeing where these teams rank and the individuals as well.
Back on the bars, we've got on the right-hand side with Eastern Michigan and Rycia Boris. Eagles trying to finish strong. High flying action all over the place. Success on the bars on the right, and some more success on the floor on the left.
Let's see if Tara Kaufmo can mirror that success on the balance beam. 9.85 high, and an outstanding move backwards to the right side of the balance beam. Score to chase on the beam is an even 9.9. Morgan Tong, your individual leader so far. She's from Central Michigan. Kaufmo also chasing the all-around crown. Right now there's a two-way tie between Marissa Knightchuk and Demarinis. For second, it's actually Sarah Moravansky who has the lead in the all-around with a 39.25 in just her freshman year. Here's Kaufmo to dismount for the Huskies. Switch over to the vault. That was Elena Lawson planting it well. Lawson, the senior from Marietta, Georgia, with a 9.825 high on the vault this year. And Kaufmo finishes up her season in the MAC. Still a chance for the Huskies to sneak into an NCAA regional with a good performance here today.
We mentioned it earlier, 5 MAC teams in the top 35 in NQS. They rank all of the gymnastics teams across the country. Stacey Harrison is on your left on the floor for Western Michigan. Molly Paris is on your right on the bars for the Eastern Michigan Eagles. Molly on your right, she's a sophomore from Hudson, Ohio. That's outside Akron. Stacey Harrison is from North Carolina, from Fayetteville. Nice finish for Molly Paris, good for her, as Eastern Michigan is completing their final event in this final rotation. Stacey competing on the floor for Western Michigan. Her season high was a 9.9. The quad meet at Eastern Michigan in Ypsilanti back on the 6th in February. Broncos being the host team, having the chance to finish on the floor. Their main rival, Central Michigan, was on the floor in rotation 6. Stacey Harrison finishes. Let's check out the vault.
Taylor Jensen, all-arounder for the Falcons to follow up Elena Lawson's 9.825. Jensen, sophomore from North Prairie, Wisconsin, as now we go back to the beam. What a great cut there from Morgan Hooper. Got you over just in time to see that outstanding move. Hooper, St. Pius X graduate. 9.85 high on the beam. That was at the home meet that Northern Illinois hosted earlier this year with 2 other teams. Came back on the 7th.
Jada Rondeau is competing on the bars on the right. And Jada with a strong finish.
Eastern Michigan's making a push here, Evan, to take that lead from Kent State. They're really hitting on all their events right now, just feeling the juice. As now Hooper dismounts. Hooper, jump stop, moves forward. And that's 3 down on the balance beam for the Huskies of Northern Illinois. 3 to go on the 2021 MAC Championships for Northern Illinois and Sam Moriel, the head coach.
David, as we wait for the vault, I mean, look, when you come to a gymnastics meet, fashion is always on the top of your mind. I just noticed one of the Bowling Green coaches has got some solid cheetah print shoes. Got to add that to my arsenal.
We've seen that. We've seen the glasses as Sammy Marion falls down on her finish. Not the end of the season that Bowling Green wanted, but an outstanding performance here today in Kalamazoo. Bowling Green Health of their program is not in question as they've notched up close to a 195. We'll see how that final score stacks up.
Here's the anchor on the bars for Eastern Michigan. It's Courtney Beazold, senior from outside of Cincy. She's on your right. On the left, the floor is continuing for Western Michigan. Ronnie Binstock competing.
A 9.725 would help out Eastern here. Catch Kent State atop the leaderboard.
Beazold has been an exclusive competitor on the bars this season. Her high is a 9.9. And that is an outstanding performance.
I think Eastern Michigan just took the lead over Kent State. We'll verify, but 195.575 is above Kent State's 195.475. So a tenth of a point ahead are the Eagles as it stands right now.
No pressure, Courtney. You're just ending your team's performance at a championship meet at the only event you do. So no pressure, kid.
You want to talk about ice in the veins? You can see it right here.
Here's Ronnie Binstock at floor high this year of a 9.8750. We'll see how close she gets with that last performance. We can confirm as we check the live stats, Eastern Michigan has vaulted in front with their performance on the bars.
I see what you did there.
Let's go to the beam, David.
We're fired up here, too. It's not just the gymnasts down on the floor as we got the fourth in line, Catherine Biddle for Northern Illinois. Beam average 9.575 and a beam high of just over 9.8. Again, score to catch on the beam is a 9.9. Your vault winner right now, it's a three-way tie between an Eagle, a Cardinal, and a Husky. Tara Kaufmill, Molly Paris, and Marissa Knightchick, all with 9.85s on the vault. That event has concluded for the afternoon. So have the uneven bars. Here's Catherine Biddle. Biddle from Michigan, Grand Rapids native. Senior year, so this might be one of her final performances in a black leotard. 5-2. Biddle wants to finish strong here. Biddle did not fall once in 2020. Here's the dismount. Catherine Biddle. Awesome work. Catherine Biddle from Forest Hills Central, doing her team proud.
We go from a Michigander to an Illinois native, Peyton Murphy. First team in the conference this year. She has had some sparkling floor routines this year. You hesitate to call people living legends when they're just sophomores, but Peyton did break the Western Michigan school record in the all-around against Eastern back on the 21st of February, so she's getting to that status. She's inching up there, David.
She definitely is, and Ronnie Binstock, a huge score for the Western Michigan side with an even 9.9 on the floor.
That is a new season high for her. What a time to do it.
Perfect.
Eastern Michigan with a sterling performance on the bars has the lead for the moment. Central Michigan was the regular season champs. As of the moment, Kent State is the champion here today. Well, they were coming into this final rotation when Eastern Michigan took the lead.
And again, Northern Illinois and Western Michigan still have a chance to catch the Eagles with a strong finish on the floor and beam respectively.
Peyton Murphy's high on the floor this year is a 9.85, trying to break it here in the championships today. We shall see how they score it. We just mentioned that Eastern Michigan, because of a sterling bars lineup, just took the lead, David. All on the line here today in Kalamazoo, and that reaction tells the story, huh?
You think they're excited?
Just a little bit.
49.125 on the uneven bars. What a way to finish for Eastern Michigan.
You know, all of these athletes, all of these gymnasts were waiting for a year to do this. At this time last year, while all of us were trapped in our houses, gymnasts didn't have any chance to compete, any way to practice because of the way things were going in the world. Getting the chance to compete today, and we've seen some awesome performances. Let's go back to the beam.
2 left for Northern Illinois. Zoe Schroeder, second to last. Unbelievable end-to-end on the bar. Zoe Schroeder from Champlain, Minnesota. Senior year, 5'5". Went to Champlain Park High School. They would love a 9.9 from her, as Eastern Michigan has been tough to catch. The Eagles notching up a 49 or over in 3 of their 4 events. Can Schroeder bring the Huskies knocking at the door at the top of the standings? Bends down. 9.619 average for Zoe Schroeder. Approaches the dismount. Unbelievable! Zoe Schroeder almost moved to tears. The Huskies are not going away anytime soon.
That raw emotion is why you live for sports.
I'm getting chills up here, Evan. I really am.
Here's Carissa Ludwig, 5'5" junior from Clarkston. Graduate of the Clarkston High School Wolves, which if you grew up in Metro Detroit, you know is a banner football program every single season. Carissa's high this year on the floor, a 9.925 against Eastern Michigan back on the 21st in February. Looking for a big performance here, as right now the Eastern Michigan Eagles are the champs. Here goes Ludwig, completing the floor lineup for Western Michigan today. We watched them on the left, NIU on the right with a lot on the line on their beam, David.
No question, they're trying to hunt down Eastern Michigan right now. Don't know if they can do it on the Zoe Schroeder score, but it can move them in the right direction. As the final beam competitor, the final gymnast, will be Mia Lord for the Huskies. This could make or break the Husky season. It could make or break the 2020 MAC Gymnastics Championships. Lord just waiting for the go code. I can't imagine the nerves that she feels right now. Conference championship on the line. Mia Lord smiles, extends her arms, and gets ready to mount the beam. Zoe Schroeder, a 9.875 just coming in. Almost a 9.9. Here is Mia Lord from Fishers, Indiana, the anchor for the Huskies. NIU trails Eastern by just under a half a point. Can Mia Lord score? Move the Huskies into the lead. The whole gym watches Mia Lord, hesitates, leans, and regains her balance. From Hamilton Southeast High School, Mia Lord, a senior at 5'3". This could end her college career. She wants to end it well. Lord jumping up and down. You could hear a pin drop. With the exception of the music and a stray cheer here or there. All 7 teams watching in anticipation. Eastern Michigan right now atop the 7 teams in the MAC. Here's Mia Lord's dismount. Amazing end to the year for Mia Lord. The Huskies gave it their all. Can they catch Eastern Michigan? We have yet to see.
We knew this thing would come down right to the final tenths of a score. And that is what's going to happen. We think Eastern Michigan has won the MAC Gymnastics Championship this year. We go to break, we tabulate the scores, we count it all up for you, and we come back and crown a champion. We are through all 7 rotations of the MAC Gymnastics Championship. We have waited 2 years for that moment. Congratulations to the Eastern Michigan Eagles, the champions of gymnastics in the MAC in 2021. A meet, David, that we knew was going to come right down to the wire. There are your final scores. By just a few tenths, the Eagles squeak it out over the Flashes and the Huskies.
Northern Illinois second, Kent State third, but Eastern Michigan, from the moment they started this meet, were really clicking. There was a ton of positivity, a ton of energy, and something worth noting, Evan, they did not capture one individual champion. They did this as a team. This was a team effort from people like Hayden Crossan, Shannon Gregory, Callie Harden, Carly Kastanovich, and Jada Rondeau was outstanding. The Eagles really deserved this and captured it with a near 196.
Congratulations to the Eastern Michigan Eagles, the champions of the MAC, the queens of MAC gymnastics in 2021. For David Korzanowski and our entire Bronco Productions crew who has been working their butts off all week long, Evan Stockton saying so long from Kalamazoo. Congratulations again to Eastern Michigan Gymnastics and all the gymnasts who competed here today. All events streaming live and archived